Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me? Awesome. Yeah, of course, when I got my computer ready this morning, my mic just didn't want to work at all, so had to figure that out. Working better now, but took a bit. Yeah, yeah, sounds great. Yeah. Yeah, probably. I think that makes sense. At least so we have it. Do you want to give me a live share link if we just want to start there? Yeah. Oh. Hopefully you got some of that watered in time. Okay, looks like live share is all set up. Um, Eventually I'm gonna need to figure out my settings so I don't have to hit accept on it every time, but that works fine. Yeah, awesome. Okay. Um, yeah, so we'll get started in just a few minutes here probably. Um, And yeah, we'll start off with, we can do like a little intro, and then you want to maybe talk about some of the platinum games to start off, and then we can switch back and forth a bit. Awesome. I didn't really have any specific plans or games to look at specifically in platinum, but we can just take a look. Yep, yep. If we just click the platinum tournament from the thing, it gives us the whole bracket, and you can click the little controller icon to see the different matches. And then I guess I will get a Sherlock set up so that we have that, assuming we might want it. In Sherlock, release, because we need it to be fast. Game ID equals something. Name equals something. Okay. Uh-oh. You can probably hear me, can't you, Donut Man? Because I didn't set up my... Yeah, I actually had the stream started, and someone in chat, Donut Man, says he can hear me. But let's just test this out while we're already here. Josh, can you say something really quick? Donut Man, I'm assuming you did not hear Josh just say hello. Can you confirm that? And now I'm going to mute myself so you can't hear me either. Can't hear that. Awesome. Okay. Hello, everyone. We're getting started here now, and now I actually do expect everyone to be able to hear me. And let's welcome Josh to the stream. Oh, except again, I think we might not actually be able to hear you quite yet, Josh, because of course I have to click a few more buttons.
Yeah, Josh, because of course I
have
have
to
to click a few more buttons.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Josh, because of course I have to click a few more buttons. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Josh.
I actually hear an echo now. I'm not sure if that's on my end or not. Okay.
Okay, I think I set my stream to mute the speaker.
Okay, I think I set my stream to mute the speaker. Okay, I think I set my stream
I
to
might need
mute
to click mute on something
the
else as
speaker.
well.
I might need to click mute on something else as well.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties, Donut Man. Give us just a second. We apologize.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties, Donut Man. Give us just a second. We apologize.
Yeah, we definitely got some audio recursion going on right now.
Yeah, we definitely got some audio recursion going on right now.
Oh, I think I figured it out.
Okay. Awesome.
I had the Twitch stream open.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it. Okay. I think we're good now.
I can't hear you, Corey.
You can't hear me now? Uh-oh. Did I? Okay. Donut Man, you can still hear me, right? I like that we have someone in
I
chat
still can't hear you.
Uh-oh. Yeah, okay. Donut Man can hear me from the stream. Why can't... Oh. No, now you're gonna hear me twice in the stream. That's not right. No, I don't wanna... Uh-oh. What did we do? How did we break this? You were just able to hear me a second ago. Now, can you hear me? Huh. It was just working. Audio sources. Yep. Well, everyone on stream gets a nice behind the scenes look at how streams do or don't work right the first try. We thought we were all ready.
I don't know if you can hear me, Corey.
I can hear you.
I still can't hear you.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, let's try that.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. I think we're good. So Donut Man, you're gonna be our tester. Thank you. Can you hear both of us now?
Hello? Testing?
And now we'll wait the 20 seconds for chat to catch up, and maybe we will be more ready to go. Yes, I got a yes in chat. Woohoo! Oh man, it took us just a little bit there, but I think we are good.
Yeah, last time we got it right the first time.
I know, right? I guess that was, I guess we jinxed ourselves that first time. Now maybe we're ready more this time now. I wrote it down this time too, so that'll help for next streams.
So I figured out the recursion after a minute was on my end. I had Twitch open because I wanted to look at the chat, and I did not silence the Twitch stream, so I think the recursion was coming through there.
Okay. Do we know what fixed the you being able to hear me thing? Just curious.
Well, I had muted, I thought I was trying to fix the recursion problem, I had muted my sharing session.
Gotcha.
In Video Ninja, and that turns out I needed to not mute because that was how I was hearing you.
Oh, yes. Okay. I think we're learning things about all these tools. I think we're good now.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to another Snake Sunday stream. I'm Corey, and I'm joined here by Josh. And
Hi.
We're gonna talk about Battlesnake today. So I guess I will share my screen first, and I'll do a little Battlesnake intro, and then we can jump in. I think we're gonna talk some Platinum games first.
Yeah.
So here we go. My stream is going to be a little, well, we've already seen a little less smoothness than normal, but you might see my OBS pop up a few times. I couldn't get my iPad to talk to my computer this morning, because of course not. So you might get a little more glimpse into OBS as we stream, but I'll try to make it quick. So we're going to talk about Battlesnake. Battlesnake's this fun multiplayer online programming game that me and Josh have both been doing for a while now. So it's this little snakes over here on my screen. Basically how it works is we write a web server that controls one of these little buddies. And each move we get a state of the board. We get to see where all the snakes are, all the food, and all the hazard are, and we get to decide if we want to move left, right, up, or down. And that's the basics of the game. And so yesterday was the Platinum tournament for Summer League. So Summer League's been running for how long was it? A month and a half or so, maybe?
Yeah, I think the ladder was only open for about a month and a half.
Yeah. And and then the Platinum tournament was the first tournament, and that was yesterday. Um, so yeah, we had some really great games yesterday. And here is the bracket on my screen that we can take a peek at. And it ended up with TM here stealing the show and getting 3 wins in the finals. Um, where do we want to start off? Do we want to just jump into some of these final games, Josh, or did you have any in mind you wanted to take a look at?
No, I'm fine jumping in wherever. Did TM actually sweep all the brackets? Like, did they ever lose a game?
They lost at least one because Ami got a win here in the finals, but I guess let's trace back.
Oh yeah,
I do think they swept the semis. It's harder to tell because everyone has some wins, but I do remember that I think they swept the semis. So let's actually maybe we can just answer that question first. Let's take out so they were both so actually what's interesting is Ami and TM were both in this group 1 round 1 or group A. Sorry, that's the right
yeah.
word. So that they both made it to the finals. So that's just they were in a tough group, but both made it on. So let's take a look at some of those games maybe. Let's start with the
Yeah.
first one, and we'll see what happens. We'll also see what speed my game settings are on and stuff like that. So this was the first one. I am curious what you were asking, Josh, if TM is just gonna sweep here, or if Ami in this tan color up here is gonna be able to steal a win from them before they get eliminated.
One thing I noticed is that Ami, in a lot of the games I was playing against them during the league, tended to get super, super long.
Oh, okay.
But I wasn't really seeing that in the tournament, and I'm wondering if it's just because the other snakes were being competitive towards the food, and
And yeah,
it was trying to get long, but couldn't actually.
and they're getting pretty long in this game. Oh, right as
Yeah,
it
they
ended,
are.
they made it to 40 as TM cut them off there. So yeah, 40, 41 to 24 length is getting quite a bit bigger. Both of these snakes though were definitely hopping between elite and platinum. So we're some good snakes are all around this summer.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
and
curious, when Ami goes left through the tunnel,
yeah,
is there another obvious solution to that situation, or
uh,
is it?
I'm gonna guess that up is Oh no, because the tail's gonna go away here. I'm gonna say that both of them look pretty safe.
Yeah, I feel like up or down would have worked.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's probably just a matter of that tunnel is the longest tunnel, and
yeah,
maybe they didn't have quite enough look ahead to go all the way to the end of it.
yeah. I also don't know. I wonder if their tags tell us what like algorithms or anything they have would be interesting to check out. So stream, you're now seeing my terminal a little bit. And I'm gonna try to plug in this tool that I've been working on. Me and Josh actually talked about it a little bit on the last stream we were on together, and so in the middle we worked to build it a little bit. So the idea here is I can give it this game and tell it which snake I want to pretend to be me, and it will figure out when the last turn they made a decision, like where a decision point was. So we'll hopefully be able to confirm to ourselves that at this 658, up or down would have been at least relatively safer than going left. And it decided that at that turn, up and down were the safe moves. So, kind of what we had theorized, which makes sense there.
Nice.
So yeah, that was fun to plug in. I was actually a little concerned about this Unicode emoji in the name there.
Yeah, did you copy and paste that into the command
Yeah,
line?
I did copy paste because I wasn't confident in anything else. But I'm glad my Rust and everything didn't explode on that. Awesome. Okay, so the other thing that we were curious about was that TM so far has won the first game, so they still have a chance to do a sweep in this round. Let's see how the second game went. It was I guess it was a really tough bracket, especially, I was surprised that Nerdy Caterpillar didn't advance farther in the tournament. But this round A or Group A or whatever with TM, Ami, Nerdy Caterpillar, and Magnaboss was a really good round. Oh, well, I think Omni's gonna get this one then, because TM got knocked out. Oh yeah, this is where Nerdy lost to a timeout. This one was unfortunate.
Yep. And that's the thing. It's interesting. Like, if you get knocked out early in the tournament because of something like a timeout, it's actually hard to know how good Nerdy Caterpillar would have been if they had
Yeah.
made it farther.
Yeah, and this timeout is interesting. Oh, I think I've gone back and forth and messed up the graph, but they were pretty consistently at 375, it looks like, until that one timeout. Under 400 the whole time, so definitely
101
unfortunate.
Donut Man says Rust has built-in support for UTF-8, which is useful.
Yeah, so I think, so I'm not doing anything special and it just kind of worked, which is always really cool.
That is cool.
I did like kind of know that it was UTF-8 support, so like I was hoping it was gonna work, but I hadn't tested it, so it was a do it live kind of thing.
Nice.
But yeah, these timeouts are unfortunate, and especially like they were saying yesterday, but especially in the arcade maze map. There's just a lot of times where any one timeout is gonna be the end of your game. So just unfortunate there.
That's actually something I'm worried about for next week. Is I still get occasional timeouts, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, we actually chatted a little bit beforehand about something that we probably aren't going to do today. So that means it's fine for me to mention it. That we were talking about making this like battle snake proxy or something that would sit in front of our snakes. And one of the things that I had been thinking about that could be interesting is a little like backup move thing. So like, if my snake doesn't actually respond in time, this proxy could just do a random move for me, or maybe do a little something more smart, do a random move that isn't into a wall or another snake body or something, just so that still random, not going to be the best move, but better than just what happens here to Nerdy Caterpillar and just a timeout into the wall.
Yeah, I was also thinking you could even have like for a tournament, you could have multiple servers and just take whichever one responds within the time frame.
Yep.
I might end up doing that for the tournament.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, especially because if the tournament's short enough, you can spin up another box and spin it back down after, and not be worried too much about the cost or anything. The other thing that I don't think I'm gonna get done for the tournament, I only have 6 days or whatever left, is I was trying to do some fun multi-threading stuff in my code, so I could get a nice 32 core box and just see what would happen. But maybe for fall I'll get that working. I don't think it's gonna happen in the next 6 days.
I would definitely be curious to like play around with that more, because it seems like it would be difficult to turn a tree search into multi-threading, because you're always going to need to communicate back to the same like central thread at some point.
Yeah, so I think it was Donut Man in Slack, or not Slack, Discord, that was talking to me about this, and oh man, I'm not gonna remember the name of the thing for min-max, but essentially what you do is you have one main min-max, that's the one you're actually gonna take the score from, and you run a few others in different threads, maybe at different depths and with different move orderings. And then the trick is that you have a shared cache for the score function. So each of these threads are using a shared cache. So if one of your background threads gets to a position first, once your main thread gets there, it'll already kind of have the score.
Oh, cool.
So I have something implemented that I thought was going to do that. But when I tested it out, it seemed to be much slower than my normal one. So I don't think I was actually using the cache correctly, or there was definitely some bugs in there that I haven't had time to dig into. But it's a cool idea. Lazy SMP, yes, thank you.
Also, Donut Man, you mentioned in the chat, don't forget to spin it up at least an hour before. So it looks like they ran the games before the tournament this time because they expected them to be longer than normal.
Yeah.
So it does seem like, yeah, we need to have our snakes up and running before the tournament when they start running the games.
Yeah, and I especially think for the elite tournament, we're gonna see some pretty long games. So I bet they'll definitely start running some ahead of time.
Yeah, they may even start it earlier because, yeah, a lot of the elite games last over 1,000 moves.
Yeah, exactly. Especially once it gets down to those last two snakes, they can kind of just keep going for a long time, it seems like.
Yeah, and these games, it looks like they were usually over within like 600 or 700 moves, I think.
Yeah, yeah, which is, still really long for other Battlesnake maps and tournaments and stuff. But still almost, half of what some of the elite games get to sometimes. Um,
I
Malware.
think,
Oh, sorry, reading a chat quick.
yeah, I was going to read that too. Go
Oh,
ahead.
awesome. I think lazy SMP, you have to be pretty lax with locking, or you slow down your main thread a bunch acquiring locks on the shared cache. Yeah, so I tried to use a crate that I don't know much about that was supposed to be less locking, but I didn't do enough research to actually know whether that is true or anything. I was having some other crazy ideas that weren't, named algorithms. They might be, or I kind of doubt it, but I didn't do research, was just kind of going on intuition and got to some ideas that were very, very locking heavy. And when I tried out even little versions of them, you're totally right. The locking like really just uh messed with it, and it wasn't gonna be. I think I didn't realize I don't do much like threaded programming. Like, my web servers at work use threads, but I don't actually have to think about them much. So
Yeah, like actually getting it to coordinate is oftentimes very expensive.
yeah, and that's just something I haven't been familiar with before, like definitely before Summer League. I don't hadn't even done any of that for Battlesnake before recently. So something I'm just starting out with. And yeah, I had tried to do something that was going to be very coordination heavy and had to back out of that idea pretty quickly.
So, Donut Man, you're saying a hash table rather than a hash map for your cache can make or break the difference. What's the difference between those two things?
That's a great question,
I've
especially
actually, in my mind, those are interchangeable.
yeah, I'm actually
Clearly, there's a
using
difference.
a hash map in my lazy SMP. So maybe Donut Man's about to tell me one reason it's very, very slow. I'm just using a hash. It's called dash map is the crate, Donut Man, since I know you're a Rust person. Um, but I didn't look at it enough to know what its like super duper performance characteristics were. I was trying to get some out for summer, but I don't think that's gonna happen anymore. Um, okay, so
We
this
can
is
pull
the
up another game if
I
you
was gonna
want.
say, yeah, let's at least get through this round and then maybe we can switch gears, but I like going through this group A round. So yeah, Omni won that last game we watched, and Nerdy was the took out by the timeout. Back to Omni and TM again. Um, and I feel like TM made it through the round first, so I kind of think they're gonna win this game. It's taken a while for me to be able to like relatively comfortably watch these games at this speed. But any lower speed setting, I feel like these games just take way too long to actually get through.
Yeah. Speed through.
Yeah, this one's another one where it's like probably locked out for quite a number of moves.
I mean, it looks like going down here, yep. Going up here is probably also not an option
Yep.
because, well, actually, wait.
5, 6, 7. No, TM.
Can TM actually block them off? They can
I
go
think they can go down and cut the corner here
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they
because
can.
there's quite a few moves to get around there.
So we know it's actually farther back than that.
Yeah. So now that it's farther back, I think it's time to
Yeah,
just
pull
try it in
out.
the tool. Been calling it Sherlock at the moment, and yeah, TM1. So Omni's gonna be the one we want to simulate again. I'm gonna have to get this tool ready for new game modes and stuff after summer. It's pretty just arcade maze hard coded at the moment, but will be useful for more modes. We could keep watching this, but I'm gonna switch back to the board just to have something to look at while I read some chat messages. It's more the hashing algorithm that's used. Yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking, Donut Man. I was kind of curious if I could just throw my entire board structure with the standard Rust hash function. But I do know that hash function, the normal Rust hash function, is a little slower. Uh, for like it takes different properties that it likes better over being fast. So I didn't try switching out the hash algorithms, but that's definitely something I'm gonna look into. You want to roll your own to get the most perf out of it, since general hashing algorithms will nearly always lose out perf-wise to a domain-specific one. The hash tables don't store the keys, which means they don't have hash collision protection. Oh, that's interesting. I guess like that makes a lot of sense, and I hadn't ever thought about it that deeply. I guess that a hash map to do collision detection must store the keys, right? It can't just store the hash, or else it would never even know that a hash collision occurred.
Oh yeah.
Um, that's I just hadn't really thought about that. That's super interesting.
I also imagine that checking for the hash collision might be an expensive step to it as well, but I don't know that much about it.
Yeah, because then at least you're gonna have to do another like I'm making all this up, so I could be wrong, but then you're gonna have to at
Okay.
least do another equality comparison to check if your game state is equal to the one that you hashed before, and that can't be super cheap, especially if you've already done the hashing.
Well, or you could also just trust that your hash map is unlikely to ever have a collision, and therefore, if it does have a collision, it's going to be rare enough to where it doesn't matter.
And I think taking Donut Man's definitions, that would be a hash table versus a hash map. A hash
Yeah.
table won't store the keys, and I think in these kind of use cases where you know either you'd think collisions aren't going to happen or you think it's fine if they collide, a hash table might be better. Though now I just terrified myself about a hash collision just screwing up my min max, but hey, problems for another time.
Well, you could also do something where you had a hash map that detected collisions, and then you had a release mode where you switched to the more efficient algorithm. And
Mm-hmm.
then you could use that in testing to determine how often collisions actually occur with the one that actually could detect collisions.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That at least get you an idea of how often a collision's going to occur or something in debug mode. To
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
if it turns out it's rare enough to where it doesn't matter, then it doesn't, it
yep,
shouldn't affect the outcome significantly.
yep. And then I think Donut Man's also right that hash collisions are incredibly rare. At least if you do a well written hash function. Um, Yeah, exactly. I could use feature gates, or I actually don't even know, Donut Man. Do you know if you can just hook into the normal dash dash release thing? Like if I do cargo dash dash release, is that something I can hook into to do conditional like feature gating? I kind of assume so, but I also know that the cargo release flag is kind of an abstraction over some Rust C ones, so maybe not. Yeah, we can. Okay, awesome. I like that. I'll have to play with that sometime. I haven't actually done changing out my different features really based on release or debug mode. That'll be a fun thing to play with at some point. Um, so my tool is at move 436. So it's currently looking at this move. I think 435 is the next really interesting move where there's actually a decision. Um, and oh well, and I guess while we're talking about caching, this tool has absolutely none of that, so it gets very slow the farther it gets away from the end of the game. There's also definitely some score caching that I could implement here, but again, too many things to do and not enough Battlesnake time.
Yeah, it looks like it does get like exponentially slow.
Yeah, it definitely does. And the other thing that it does, which is like kind of interesting, is when there's only one decision, like at 436, Ami
Hmm.
only had one decision, it could probably like just skip really evaluating that turn.
Yeah, especially for arcade maze, that would be a good
Yeah.
optimization.
And actually there is one thing that would do that's slightly interesting that I've actually seen in a few games. If your opponent quote unquote messes up, you actually can find a move where you didn't have any options, but your opponent like kind of made a decision for you that like made it safe, which is like a really interesting one. I've only seen it happen like once or twice. Um, but it's an
Yeah,
interesting thing.
that would be cool to dive more into these like game analysis tools that
Yeah,
replay the game and tell you interesting things about like the last decision, and like you're saying if a snake like had a winning position but gave it up.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Super interesting, and I'm really liking having this tool that can help out a little bit. But there's definitely some more fun ways to use it going forward.
How
Um,
how deep does it go before it determines that it's safe?
yeah. Oh, well, actually, I don't think I gave it a. Well, that's one reason this one might be spinning for a long time. It's a option that I can add to the CLI here, for how many turns after the end of the game to look. Um,
Hmm.
but I didn't specify it here, which means it's using whatever I decided was the default, which was either 20 or 50. And 50 is way too big. I don't, that was like just a number I typed in when I was first starting this. And I learned that 50 was really big, and I don't know if I ever went back and changed it.
50 is kind of reasonable though if you're looking at those like 1v1 in-game positions from Elite.
Well, yeah, so it 50 turns out total isn't crazy, but 50 turn so what that 50 is so at we the last turn we were alive is 461 or 462 is the ending turn. So
Hmm.
it's now going to go 50 turns past that. So it's going to pretend to try to go to 512 or whatever that math says. So
Hmm.
now from 436, now that's like 80 turns in the future. Um which is getting really big.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so definitely some things to work on there. And actually, what's really interesting is there's been some games that I was running for people in Discord. I don't remember exactly which games. Um, where I ran this like this and then was checking my memory usage, and I have 64 gigs of RAM on this machine, so like kind of a lot, and it used all of it before finally finding the right move. So it also just spat out an insane amount of memory that I wasn't super expecting.
Hmm.
It does keep like the entire game tree in memory until the turn's over, so it's not like surprising, but I wasn't expecting it before I had seen it happen.
Yeah.
Um, cool. Well, I'm gonna like kind of say that 435 is at least kind of interesting. The tool's taking a long time to decide what to do here. Um, but don't know if we just need to hang out here for super duper long. Um, hey,
But all the
not even
ones
joking. Sorry, saw a chat.
all all the ones after that. Oh hey, how's it going? All the ones before that it marked as no safe options.
After 430, yeah, so like 436 all the way on, um it says there's no safe options, and this there's absolutely a chance this is buggy. It's using the same min max as my snake, and there's not a great reason to believe it's bug free. But I've been slowly getting there, I think.
I mean, I believe it.
It definitely wasn't bug free when I did Sherlock the first time. It definitely helped me figure out some bugs in my min max, which was also really helpful. I didn't actually like anticipate how helpful the tool would be in just debugging my min max as well. But it really like it found like it would make some weird decisions that just, on closer inspection didn't make much sense. So it's been helpful and definitely has found some
Yeah.
things.
Donovan is asking, can you do just a normal minimax without holding the game tree?
Um, I can't with my code. Like, it's obviously not crazy to restructure it to not do that. But in my min max right now, I return a whole result, a whole type that has all of the options underneath it stored. Um, so like I definitely could figure out a way to do that, but not trivially with how my code is structured at the moment. Um, and I guess we'll keep talking about it because we can. One thing that I haven't been running all the time with this tool, but I have sometimes, and we could try it out on a game that isn't taking quite as long, maybe. Is I've been using all of the return state at the end to create a nice little graph, and I say nice and little, it's neither of those things. It's huge and unwieldy to look at, but still sometimes very helpful to figure out what it's like seeing. So let's actually
Hmm.
run it on not this game, the first game we did, just because it's smaller.
Yeah.
So we'll let this run again, and hopefully it won't take a ton of time, and we'll spit out a an SVG graph at the end of the day that I can open up, and we can like kind of look through everything and see. Okay, now I think it's generating my SVG for me. And this is a relatively huge SVG file. So I used GraphViz to generate a dot format file and then converted that to an SVG, which means I didn't have to mess with much of the positioning stuff, which was really nice. But it means I don't have a ton of customizability. But we will see. Oh man, this converting to SVG part at the end is taking longer than I expected. Not the end of the world, but
I wonder how big the tree graph is at that point.
yeah, right? 29 turn look ahead, so at least a lot of turn look ahead.
Does the tree hold the, I mean, it doesn't hold the pruned branches, it just holds, like, it says they were pruned, right?
Yeah, so it doesn't, and I think actually I think I actually store that it was pruned in the SVG now to like look at it. I hadn't at one point, and that was really hard for me to understand the pictures because I couldn't tell what was pruned and which wasn't. Um, but it doesn't, yeah, so it like looks as far down as it got pruned, but then it doesn't hold anything deeper, mostly because it didn't even explore deeper with
Yeah.
the pruning. But yeah, it's taken its time. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. Uh-oh, it's definitely using RAM. We can see my colored bars down here. I'm losing out on my green. But that's okay. Not worried about it. Just can tell it's working, if nothing else. Well, while we sit here and wait for the... Oh, there we go. As soon as I said something, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so there should be...
Donut Man says 33 million moves is the
when you go
is
2
the
to the
amount you'd
25th.
get if you had what is that, branching factor of 2?
Oh yeah, because 2 is the average branching factor for arcade maze. At least is a reasonable assumption. Yeah, that's a lot
Yeah,
of turns.
that is a lot.
So now I'm confused though because it it outputted this temp.dot file, which like is the like this is the dot file that defines the graph, but this isn't pretty to look at. It was supposed to convert it to an SVG, but it didn't do that, and it didn't error out at me. Okay, well, let's just try this then. Dot dash TSV SVG dash, and I think it was that one, dash capital O temp dot dot. Yep. And let's just see if this can output an SVG for us a little better. I was trying to have my Rust do everything for me, but didn't seem to work. So while we sit here and wait for this is what I was going to say before we did the first waiting. You want to chat a bit about what we think we're going to do for a custom maze in a few minutes, Josh?
Yeah, so we were playing around with the idea of building a custom map. I think someone had this idea in a stream a long time ago. It's basically like the idea that snakes could leave behind a trail of hazards as they move. And so we were thinking about trying to implement that idea in a map.
Yeah. And then I was actually I tweeted that we were going to stream today and said we had a new map idea. And Brad from Battlesnake tweeted back and said that they're looking for ideas for the fall. So maybe
Oh, nice.
if this works out well and we actually like how the games look, it could be a, you know, at least a potentially thing that we could do for Fall League, which would be fun.
That would be crazy to actually be the creator of the Fall League map,
Right?
or the co-creators.
Co-creators, yes, exactly.
Okay, so what should we call it? Should it be Slime Trail, Hazard
Ooh,
Trail?
I like Slime Trail. That's a fun one. Hazard
There's
Trail's reasonable too, though.
we could name it Snail Trail.
Ooh, Snail Trail. That's a good one too. Oh, fun.
Snail mode.
I like that. I think we might
Snail
have
mode
to
is good.
switch to snail mode or at least work on that in a minute. I got a seg fault trying to run this program. So we're not going to be able to see the nice SVGs that I can make because apparently I can't make them right now. So I'll
Oops.
have to debug that at some point. And it could be just that this is too big of a graph. Though I think I've graphed ones that were about this big before. But not a thing I feel like I need to debug live on this stream.
Yeah, I imagine it would be just too large of a file.
Yeah, right? Something like that, where it gave up eventually. But yeah, do we want to switch gears for a bit? We'll come back to some games in a few maybe, but do you want to switch gears and do some snail mode?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Um,
Do you want me to switch to your screen share and we can start off over there?
yeah, I think I have the editor up that we have our shared session in.
Awesome. So if you're ready, I will switch you over to that and we will continue.
Okay.
Okay. So now your
I see your
screen.
cursor here, I think.
Oh, I have to pull up mine so that I can actually move around. So we're doing this VS Code live share thing. Yeah, here's my cursor. I can move around a little bit.
Yep, I see you now.
Awesome. So we're gonna try this out. We think it will be good. But let us know how it is on stream and everything. And Josh, I actually don't have your screen up, but you want to maybe bump your font size up so people on stream can see? But I'm also not looking. You might have already done that.
I think I bumped it up to 20, which is what we had it on last week or
Perfect.
last time. So I think that's good.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we'll be great
If
then.
if you need it larger in chat, let us know. So I think we need to create a new map, right?
Yeah.
Is that the first step?
I think so. Well, actually, that's something that I think we can at least chat about quick. I was thinking it probably makes. Oh no, I'm gonna do this whole chat because I started out already. I was thinking whether we should make a new map for this or if we wanted to like add it to existing maps. Like I thought it would be kind of cool if we added it to Arcade Maze. But
Oh, interesting.
I also talked myself out of that this morning a tiny bit. I don't think it's bad, but I'll say it out loud. When me and you talked yesterday, we were talking about using the fact that hazards can stack as a way to like make the slime trails look kind of cool.
Right.
Which is would work in Arcade Maze, but I forgot that the hazard damage is set once for the whole game. So the walls, either the hazards would have to be walls or they could be hazards. We can't have it be half of each. So maybe it does make sense to start off with a separate map, and at least we can start there and see where to go.
Okay, so it looks like empty map is having a name collision. So I went ahead and copied the empty map
Oh,
Go
okay,
file and
yep.
renamed it to snail mode. I don't know if I have a refactoring tool with Go to rename this struct. I can just rename all instances in this file probably.
Yeah, and I think that's probably good enough. I don't actually know. I guess like there probably aren't references outside that we want to rename because we don't want to rename every reference to empty.
Yeah, we don't want to rename the ones in the other file. So
Yep.
we're going to call this snail mode map.
Awesome. Oh, cool. All the errors went away, at least in my editor.
Yeah, I'm saying the errors go away as well. Okay.
Awesome.
Can we like run this map just to see if it works?
Yeah.
Or actually, let's change the name. So the name will be. Oops.
Yeah, so I definitely think we can get it running. And the other thing that was helpful for me when I was doing this is I created a little script that did a few things. It would compile the Go and then run the CLI with all of the flags set up for my snake URL and the browser flag and everything. Just to make it easier than having to remember all the steps each time. And I was going
Sorry, I was busy typing and didn't hear what you said.
Oh, it's okay. I think another thing that might be nice is if we can create a little script, I think like PowerShell probably since that's the environment you're in, that can just do a few things whenever we want to run the game. It can compile the Go and then call the CLI with all of our snake URLs and everything like that.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and write a Python script because
that works for me.
I don't like writing anything in PowerShell or shell or bash or anything like that.
That sounds great.
I'm just gonna call this test.py.
Yeah.
So we need to build the CLI and then run a game with. I'm assuming we want like the browser option.
Yeah, I think so. I really like that option they added. It just makes everything look so much nicer.
You work in Python very often?
Not very often. I think I can read it and everything, but definitely not my primary language. So I definitely wouldn't have been able to set up the base of this shell script without help.
I've been. This is like my comfort zone. So
Nice.
we probably could have gone with a different scripting language for you, but
Oh, absolutely fine. As long as you get it set up, I think I can throw additions on it relatively
okay.
okay.
So I think for building the CLI, we need to take the. Could you go find the
Yeah,
readme command and paste it in here?
that's actually exactly what I was working on. Look at that.
Cool.
Yeah. So here's what the command's gonna be.
Okay, sweet.
And then yeah, you
So
can throw it in a
we can run
process or whatever.
subprocess.run, and then this takes a list. It takes a list of arguments.
Oh, you got to split it up.
So you
Gotcha.
would, yeah, unfortunately.
I can just hand type out this if you want to work on the game running half.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We got two computers. We might as well take advantage. Oh my gosh,
Great.
I have Copilot. It just does it for me.
Oh my goodness. This is magical. Okay, we also need to find the game command. I think we were running one yesterday.
Yeah, so it looks a bit like this. Here, I can at least
I'm not getting it.
paste in the if I can find out where my VS Code lives. There we go. Here is mostly what it's gonna look like. We do want the browser on the end. And then we each are probably gonna want to throw in our snake names and stuff as well. I set up a local ngrok that hopefully works, and I am just gonna put this URL on stream team, so please don't abuse it too badly.
Yeah.
I can always shut it down if anything happens, but I'm not super worried about it. We've got a pretty friendly stream around these parts.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will try hacking our snakes while we're on.
Yeah, agreed.
So let me see. I need to activate.
And then I have to. I'm also looking at how to set up the map name. Okay, awesome. Dash dash map and then the name. So we should be able to. I'm gonna put it. Actually, I'm gonna switch up the order of these so that the snake stuff can go at the end, just so it's easier for us to see. And this is all a comment, so I'm actually just gonna new line it. Okay, we want a dash dash map, and then what did we call this map? Snail mode?
Yeah.
I like snail mode. Yeah, and then I think we just need to sub-process arrayify this, and I'm gonna try just doing it myself so that I can try and get Copilot just to like do all of it for me again. Let's see how good did it do? Solo browser map snail mode. That was looked pretty good.
That's good. I can paste the URL from my snake as well.
If you're okay. We can also move off of this file if you don't want it on stream, but
No, it's fine. Because this is my dev snake.
oh yeah, I forgot you were actually spinning up new boxes, so you're more prepared than I was.
Yes, I have lots of dev snakes. But this one I think is the one that I actually got working last night to where it can run this game mode.
Nice. Yeah, I also so we prepared a little bit yesterday and tried to make it so our snakes will understand not necessarily the full game mode, but one thing that we're planning on using is the fact that hazards actually are allowed to be duplicated. You can have two hazards on the same square. So we were working yesterday on teaching our snakes to respect that. Because we assumed it would be more fun to watch with snakes that could, at least kind of understand the game mode. But my call out there that I wanted to give is mine is absolutely untested, so I have no idea if it actually works. But I did try to add this last night / this morning.
I tried to add it, and I basically have a couple test cases, so I know that it works like in a couple really basic situations.
Oh, nice.
So is the map type snail mode with an underscore? Where did we set that?
That's a great question. I was stealing it from the file name, but I don't think that's the right way. Oh, actually, and it's something else we need to rename here. It's this string here.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
So what do we want? Do we want dashes or underscores?
Well, let's look at the other maps
That's
that are
a really
created.
good point.
So Royale doesn't have an underscore. Hazards. It looks like they use underscores, lowercase underscores for the ID.
That works, and I think that matches the file name, so that makes sense.
And it looks like that's the name given in the metadata as well. So it looks like we should change our name.
Oh, okay. Make the name in the metadata match as well.
Yeah, I'll do that.
That works. Cool. Let's see. What did I do for solo maze? Okay, so that's totally fine. I'm not sure if it is wrong. My solo maze name is like title Casey with a space, but I'm not positive if that actually means anything at the end of the day. We'll experiment.
Yeah. Okay, so we got snail mode as the ID now. We're registering it. Anything else that we need before we just try it out?
No, I think we're good to try it out. And they did add a few more settings, min player, max players, but that looks fine, 1 to 16, and we're currently saying we can support pretty much any board size, which I think is also pretty sane. Yeah, I think we're ready to give it a shot.
Okay, so it says failed to load map, game map, snail mode, map not found.
Okay.
Are you seeing this on your screen?
Actually, I might be able to see it in my VS Code.
Our heads are covering up the stream as well.
Okay.
Let me get
I can also move our heads if there's a better corner.
Now, I think there's a way we figured out last time where you can open you can split the terminal.
Yes, that did work out well.
So I can just split the terminal and move it to where it's at our head level.
Awesome. While you were doing that, I did remember one thing from when we were messing around yesterday, and I just added it to the script. I think we need that /battlesnake once we build it. But I changed that in the script, so whenever you're ready, we can try running it again. And I do see that terminal in my VS Code share.
See, one thing, I don't know, this seems to be working fine. When I was running interactively, I had to run exe, but
that's
the fact that it actually got to this point and ran.
That is fair. Well, it might not have run though. If you have the CLI installed locally, I'm wondering if it didn't run.
I think what I did is I actually I built it last night with exe, and I think it ran the map from last night and not the updated one.
That makes sense.
Okay, let's try it.
Yep.
With test.
Okay.
All right. Looks like game is no longer available.
Well, so we did get an error still in the CLI. Invalid character greater than looking for beginning of value. But that might have been my ngrok. My ngrok's throwing a weird 405 method not allowed error. Not sure if that's actually the issue or not though, but it definitely feels like it could be.
Yeah, it could be. Would you also be able to... Well, we should be able to play in solo mode, right?
I did remove solo from the flags, but we can definitely add it back and try without MySnake or something if we want to test that out.
Okay, because I think we could add multiple Ziggies if we wanted to.
Yeah, that's fair too. I think I can just like comment out. Oops, we both did it, but that's fine.
Double comment. Okay, let me see if that works, and then we can see if it's an issue with Hobbs or not.
I'm going with maybe not.
No, we got another error there.
Yeah, it seems like it's the same.
Invalid character looking for beginning of value, and we don't.
Yeah, invalid character looking for beginning of value. That one I don't think I've seen before.
I feel like this is a JSON encoding issue.
It does feel like that, right? What could we have added that would... Well, let's try something else. Maybe let's try changing it from I'm gonna change it from map snail mode to standard. I want to see if it's our maze or um maybe not. I'm actually
Yeah.
I see the terminal, but I'm not sure I can type into it. So you want to try it again whenever?
Yeah.
Um oh. So I
Standard
actually
didn't work either.
but if we look at the warnings, I think something's telling us something wrong. Um it says the URL has a dash dash name at the end of it for some reason. Like it
Oh,
didn't separate the things with spaces or something?
I forgot to add a comma after that
Oh,
line.
that could have done it. Oh, do strings just concatenate if they're next to
Yeah,
each
if
other?
they're right next to each other in a list like this, they will just concatenate together, which
Okay,
is kind of um, oh, okay, so this is working.
awesome.
Um, so let's kill that game, and we're gonna try doing.
I was gonna
Let's
say,
switch the map to
yep.
our snail mode.
And I can bring Hobbs back. I think Hobbs will work, and maybe just one Ziggy for the moment.
Yeah, that works. Is it ready?
Save. Yes, now it is.
Cool.
Oh wait, it happened again.
So it said error reading response from ngrok.io, invalid
Oh,
character
okay.
H looking for beginning of
So
value.
that's a me issue, or at least like yeah. Why is ngrok telling me that all of the methods weren't allowed? That one's an interest. Oh, because I just forgot how all my snakes work. That's easy. Slash a real issue. My nothing lives on the root.
Oh,
Hovering Hobbs. Okay. Now I think Hobbs should be ready at that URL.
okay. Let's try it again. Hey, we're playing.
Yay!
Hobbs moved out of bounds,
Oh, well, that's
and
interesting.
they went only up, which leads me to believe
Oh, I
that
wonder I might want to change my so I have my timeout values set like I'm in the same region as the Battlesnake server.
yeah.
Let me change that real quick. Yeah, I think
And
I'm
I'm
giving
gonna
it like
set
30 milliseconds of latency, which is probably not enough.
yeah I'm gonna set the timeout to 6,000 as well, just to give
Uh,
Ziggy a better chance of actually doing it.
okay. That's
Um,
fine. I might just need to hard code something else because I'll take that whole time if I don't, but I can do that. Just 1 minute.
wait, not 6,000, 600.
Where you used. Yeah, so we're gonna do 500 minus that. Okay. You all come back.
Are you working
I
on Hobbs
am,
right now?
yeah, I'm compiling. I'm almost ready with the new timeout settings. If I wasn't worried about building in release mode, this would be much quicker, but I do kind of want to build in release mode.
Yeah, I mean that would be nicer in terms of doing well, I suppose. Although neither snake might do very well.
Very, very fair. I am ready now.
I believe we have no food spawns, and
Oh yeah,
they will starve.
reasonable. I'm ready whenever though. My compilation finished.
Okay.
I see response. I see things.
Oh, I see Hobbs making directional changes. So that's great.
Awesome. Yep. I see 350 milliseconds. Yep, it's listening to that. Okay. Well, I think that's a good. We got the board working. It works.
Yeah. Cool. Hooray.
Woohoo! Step 1 down.
Okay.
So now I guess we actually have to look and see what is actually happening here.
Yeah, so you've done this before.
I have a bit, but I was making something quite a bit different. But that's okay.
Yes. I think this should be simpler, I would hope.
I hope so. I think so. Um, okay, so let's just read through what's happening. Okay, so I guess I can give a little overview of like what these functions do really quick, maybe.
Yeah.
So we have setup board, which is going to get called the first time the map is made to set it up. So this is where we'll want to like place snakes initially. And like we could place initial food spawns or anything like that. And so how they're doing it is they're just saying error out if there's too many snakes. And then I think they are leaning on using rules.place snakes automatically, which is kind of just like how standard games just place the snakes according to. I think they actually have an algorithm that decides where the snakes go. But
Mhm.
I think we can probably just leave that. I don't think we need to mess with snake spawns too much there.
Yeah, definitely at least for a start for the first iteration of the board, we don't need to mess with that.
Yeah. And so this is actually interesting though. The temp board state, I think it's a pattern that's worth it explaining a tiny bit.
Mhm.
So how the editor works is you get an editor passed in to both of these functions to update and
Mhm.
set up. And you also get a board state passed in called the initial board state or last board
Mhm.
state. Um, you don't want to modify those board states. You want to call functions on the editor to make changes to it. So like the editor is in a different file we could probably look at if we wanted. It's in gamemap.go. It defines the editor. Um, if you follow along with where I am, we have things like clear food and clear hazards, add food, add hazard, food, remove hazard, and place snake.
Oh, I can follow you to the side, I think.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that mode.
Um, oops. Although with the text being as large as it is.
We might not get a lot of real estate. Um, but so here's the editor interface that I was mentioning. And these are the methods that we can call to like make changes to the board.
Okay.
Um, but one thing that they're doing in empty or that we copied over in snail mode, which I think is a good pattern, it's one that I did a bit as well, is they make a temporary board state so that they have a
Mhm.
board state that they can modify and do things with without having to go through the editor interface. Um, and then eventually at the end, they copy all of the snakes from their temp board state and use editor.placeSnake to put them on the real board. Um, and a reason for that is when you call editor methods, you don't have a way to look up that data again. Like
Got
you
it.
can't read your own rights to use that terminology. Um,
So basically, the idea is you have a temp board that you're going to use if you need to check the state of the new board for any kind of computation in your code. You would use the temp board, and then at the very end of your code, you take the temp board and you run all the editor commands to actually apply those.
yep,
Okay.
exactly. And like it, there's a chance we don't need to do that, but I just found like I think it's a pattern a lot of the maps use, and if you do need to ask any questions about the board, that's kind of the best way to do it. So
So I guess first off, I'm going to try like, can we make a hazard?
yeah,
I just want to place a hazard.
mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say editor place. What is it? Place
I believe
hazard.
place hazard. Yep. It's actually add hazard.
Add hazard, and then this is going to be a position.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And um,
Oh, it's a point.
oh, it's
Okay,
called
so
point. Okay. Yep.
can I just say like x0? I don't know
So
how going works anymore.
I only know because I just copy and pasted this from my other code, so I'm just gonna copy over you if that's okay. Oh, you got it actually. That's what I was gonna do. So you got it.
Wait,
Oh, it's so close. It's here. I'm gonna put it in a comment after, and we can compare. I think you just need to lose the parens.
Oh, yep. Okay.
Oh, and comments aren't that character in Go, so that wasn't a
Double
comment.
/
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But that should work. And now, and actually, let's run this because I'm curious to see. But what I think we're gonna see is this is gonna add a hazard every turn, so it's gonna start stacking.
Oh, okay.
But that'll be a fun one to experiment with.
What happened to Hobbs?
Whoa. What?
Hobbs is
Hobbs lost his styles. There was an error
also
in the
error
very
communicating
beginning.
with server, and yet you're totally playing the game fine.
Yeah, I wonder if that first one just had an issue. The like
Well,
checking info.
I think you're right in that if this is solid black, it probably means that it's adding a bunch of hazards.
And actually, I can kind of look and see if I can confirm
oh,
that.
look, the hazard list is growing.
Oh,
Like
there
you
you
can
go.
see it actually in the terminal
Yep,
here.
that's I was gonna do the same thing. Yet looking at my snake logs, but much easier in the CLI output.
We can clear hazards first.
Yep.
Clear hazards, and then that again.
And now I'm actually kind of curious if Hobbs's colors come back.
They did not come back.
Interesting.
It seems like maybe the move command might be returning a valid response, but the base
Yeah.
URL might be invalid or something.
And like I see responses to that base route here, but not sure what's going on. It's not a huge deal. I'm gonna blame something with ngrok.
Game just froze.
Oh. Oh, we got another invalid character in the error in our logs here.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
So, I mean, this is something that I feel like the CLI maybe should not do, is that if the CLI detects an invalid response, like it's not a valid JSON response, it
Yeah.
will stop the game, whereas usually you'd want the snake to just keep going straight.
Yep.
But that's fine.
Yeah. And like, I do see some JSON responses that look valid for me at the end.
Hobbs is back.
Oh, now the colors are back. Oh yeah, because I see hitting the start endpoint, or the empty one.
Yeah,
Super
and it
interesting.
looks like this is staying light gray.
Okay.
Also,
yep.
we're seeing only one element every turn, the 0 over here.
Things are looking good.
Can we put in like a default food spawn, like just use the standard food spawn rules?
Yeah, so I think what we'll want to do, and that's something that's kind of nifty about how the code is structured. I think we can like new up a standard game and use that for food spawning. I'm actually just gonna I'm looking at standard Go, and I'm just trying to see how they do food spawning. And maybe
I'm following you, so you can go
Awesome.
ahead and navigate there.
So here's where it updates board. So the standard update board is where we like check if food needs placement and place food randomly. So we might be able to just create a new standard board and call its food placement thing. And I think I'm gonna check the hazard map because I think, yeah, see, so in its update for hazards, all it does is create a new standard map and call standards update board. So if we just want to use standard as the food spawning, I think we can just create a new standard map, call its update board method, pass it our editor, and it should just work.
Oh, interesting. So that would handle everything except for the hazard placement, and then we could add the hazard placement at the end?
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
So then, yeah, I can just yeah, exactly. One of us can copy this line. You got it.
Oh, I was gonna say no,
Oh, no.
you got it. We'll both paste it at the same time.
Yeah, we'll get the double again, right?
Now it is. I'm assuming that this actually could return
Oh,
error.
I think you're right. Yep. I forget about this in Golang, but you're totally right.
Error is not equal to nil. return error.
Nice.
I feel like this little pattern here is just like Go in a nutshell.
I know, right? And neither of us do Go as our primary thing, so we'll struggle along together.
I've written a fair amount of Go, and actually you've written quite a bit of it now with your map
I
as
was
well.
gonna say that's my most Go, but you know, enough.
Okay, so we should see now the standard food spawns happening.
Yeah. Oh, I see food.
Yep, food is spawning. We still have that one hazard in the corner.
Nice.
How much health damage per turn is that doing?
Oh, so that's a CLI option. But we also, I think, we aren't using the hazard map. So, you know, our update board, I doubt is even checking for hazard damage. Because the standard map doesn't have hazards, and that's probably in the hazard map. So, like, instead of standard, we could change that to newing up a hazard map, but then I think it would also place hazards. So now we might be in a bit where we need to do some more custom coding or something.
Okay.
Because I think I'm gonna check in hazards.
We could look at Royale mode and we could see how they handle
Royale.
hazards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or is Royale?
That would be an example of so I'm in, let's see, update board on Royale. They do use standard map.
To populate food.
Use standard map to populate food.
Yep.
Royale uses the current turn to generate hazards, not the previous turn.
So I might have been wrong though, because I don't see anything in Royale about taking damage because of hazards. So maybe that is in standard, and I just didn't know that, which is totally sane or possible. So I guess like we did see someone go through a hazard in that game. Did it actually do damage?
Yeah, let's take a look. So, pause. Okay. Yeah, look at that.
Okay.
It took a chunk off. I think that's about the default damage, probably 14.
The 14, yeah. And I think we can
14 plus 1.
set that in like the CLI options. It's not a map option. They've talked about making it one, but right now it's part of the CLI options.
Okay. I'm okay leaving it at 15 for now, because what that means is that if the max damage would be, let's say 7 would kill you instantly, so maybe that should be what they default to when a snake is on top of them, and then 1 is removed every turn.
Yep.
So we could operate on that where it's like 7 and then take away 1 every turn.
Yep. So yeah, we talked about a few different things. So we talked about just removing a hazard every turn from the tail, and we also talked about like more of a random chance that they disappear style. Which one do you think we want to start with, or first, or whatever?
Let's do the stack. So first thing we're going to do is ensure stack of 7 for the tail segment of each snake.
Yep.
So we're going to say I think we can do last board state.
Yeah. It's probably something like this that I have highlighted up a little bit.
Actually, wait, it would be for snake.
Yep.
Range.
Yep. And I think we want like I think the first thing that it loops over is actually like an integer, a number. And I think we ignored it up top, but either way, yep.
Oh yeah, up here. Yep.
Yep.
I can see you highlighting off the top of my screen.
Oh, it was just off the top, so you couldn't actually see. That's fair.
Good. Okay, so now we have. So what we want to do is we want to find the tail of the snake.
Yep.
So tail is going to equal snake body.
And then can we just -1 it? I don't know. Go. Indexing.
I don't know if Go does -1 or if we have to do the length.
Oh, I think we might have to do the length thing just because I kind of remember having to do that.
Okay, so we're gonna say length of snake body -1.
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
I think so. Yeah, length. Yep, -1. Yep. I'm looking at my old code.
And we need to add 7 hazards here. Or actually no, we are clearing hazards, so
Yep.
that means we actually need to do something up here.
We are going to, yeah.
We're gonna need to store hazards so we can decrement by 1, decrement stack
Yep.
of hazards by 1. Then for the tail, we can add a hazard for, I think we'll just need to add 7.
I think so, yeah.
So like for, how do you do that in Go? Is it a while loop or
Oh, yeah, that's fair. I think I would have just done
we can say
go range 7,
count
but
is
I'm not
equal
actually sure. Yeah, they want us to do a for loop. Here.
4 if count is greater than 7. I'm probably doing this wrong.
Here, ready? You want me to paste something in quick? Boom.
Oh, there we go.
7. We don't really care what I is, so less than and equal to is fine. And then, yeah.
And actually, we're not even using I, but
No. But we probably need it because we're actually incrementing it. So even though we're not going to use it in the body, we actually are using it.
okay, so this should.
So now I think we should just have a hazard on our tails all the time if we just ran this.
Yeah, and I suspect it would disappear the next turn because we're.
Yep, that was what I was thinking too.
Oh look, there's like
Oh,
a
look at
black
that.
blob on the tail.
Perfect. And sometimes Hobbs loses his customizations, but that's fine. Just kind of funny.
So I think what's happening with Hobbs is that the first time the server hits it, it times out, and then once it's warmed up, maybe.
Oh.
Does it have a warm up?
Well, I could believe that like, something between my ngrok, like we've got lots of proxies going on here. I could believe it's getting some timeouts initially.
I wish it
Yep.
displayed timeouts properly over here.
Well, and actually, I see in the logs that are covered up by your board opening for you, but that it looks like it got an invalid character in my initial response. So yeah, something must have timed out and sent non-JSON, and it just didn't like that.
Okay, but it would almost be nice if it didn't cover up the tail like it's doing now.
Yeah.
Like visually, it would be a little more pleasing if it appeared after the tail, so you could still see the snake tail.
That is pretty reasonable. Yeah.
But I think that would be trickier, so let's not worry about that for now.
Yeah, I was gonna say that seems like something we can come back to for sure. I agree.
Yeah.
It feels a little trickier.
So now we need to basically store all the hazards. And
yep. Oh, actually, here's a trick. We don't need to store the hazards because we never change last board state. Last board state.
Oh, you're right. You're
just
right.
Always is like it's there. Yeah, editor commands don't change last board state.
But we still need to know, like, if, for example, your tail already has 3 hazards on it, you don't want to add another 7. That would increment it up to 10. We want to max it out at 7. So we do need to count the total number of hazards on each square.
Well, that's interesting though, right? Like, I think it definitely could be saying to do what you're saying and max it at 7. But we don't have to, and that could be an interesting game mechanic, right? You go back over it and it stacks more.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's
okay.
I think it's
okay,
reasonable either way.
The simplest thing we could do is what you're saying is we could increment over the
Yep.
So let's say this is we can use the last board state for this, unless I don't know. We can do that.
Yeah.
For now. And then we need to, probably doesn't matter with the order we do it in right now. So we're going to add hazard, add back existing hazards. Okay, and then we're going to loop over them. So for hazard and range hazards, last board state hazards, yes. We're just going to say editor hazard.
So I think this will just make hazards never go away, which is
good point.
You know, like if we're just testing, that's probably fine. But I think we're gonna want to like do like a group by count from that hazards array, right? Like I want to know there are 5 on position 1 or something. You know
you're right. You're totally right.
And I was Googling, and it doesn't really seem like Go's gonna give us that function for free. So I think we're gonna have to write the counting thing ourselves, which isn't hard. Just got to do it.
We're definitely leaving a trail.
We are leaving a trail. I like that.
A deadly trail. Now it's actually a little bit like what's it called? Yep, that was over quick. I think Ziggy made a mistake here, though. Like clearly, they could survive longer.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, Hobbs is also time. Oh, that's
actually,
Hobbs, and he's timing out.
What Ziggy's thinking though is Ziggy can go right and then up again because it doesn't know that this square will have hazards on it.
Wait, is Hobbs moving directions and getting timeouts? Because that's amazing.
I don't know how Hobbs is managing it.
And what? Yeah, what's this red exclamation point next to Hobbs? I just don't I don't know what's going on.
I'm assuming that's for the first one that's supposed to get the customization information.
And then it just never cleared it or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, I could buy that. Super interesting though. But we're at least doing the hazard tails.
So we're getting there a little bit. Okay.
So
okay, what do we got next?
So I think we want to do this counting thing. So we want to like count the number of hazards for a given position. So I think I want to do something like this. I just copied this from the internet. But this is going to be a rules.point.
Can we use a structure as a key in a map?
Go might be yelling at me, so maybe not. I don't actually know what it's mad about. What are you mad about, Go? No new variables on left side.
No new variables on the left side of...
Can't use as a value in assignment. Can't use value of map. Yeah, so I think you're right.
So what I think we could do is we can write a little function up here that's basically like hash, and we're going to take a point, which is the rules up point. Right?
Yep.
And we're going to return integer, for example.
Yep.
And then you can take, what is it? It's point x times, plus point y times height.
Yep.
And then we need to take a height here as well.
Yep. And so now we're going to have a map of int to int. I think it's just mad that I'm not using it, but that's fine. I want something like this again for each hazard. I don't actually know how to... Oh, no. Things get initialized to 0 by default in Go, so I probably don't need to worry about setting things to 0 initially. Can I just go m at hash of point plus plus? Copilot wrote most of that code for me.
No, actually, I don't think that works, but...
That's not unreasonable. Oh, and this isn't hazard.point, so like that's just wrong, Copilot, but that's okay. Also, it's still very mad at me.
Yeah. So while you work on
Oh.
that, I need to actually take a short break.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going
If you need to take a break, you can go ahead and do
Yeah,
that.
let's
But if
just.
not, then you can keep working, and
Yeah, you
I'll
know
be
what?
back in a minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna take your break. I'm gonna change stuff. When you get back, Josh, you're not gonna be on stream. So let me know when you're
Okay.
ready.
Sounds good.
Let me figure out how I want to keep myself here. 1 second. This one. Oh, I'm off screen. That's okay. I'll drag myself on stream. Oh, everyone's seeing OBS at the moment, aren't they? That's okay. We're gonna actually just gonna go with this one. There we go. And okay. Actually, I'm gonna take a break too here, team. I'll be back in just a second. Okay.
Oh, nice. You wrote a dehash function.
Yeah, I did like a tiny bit before I took a break as well. So yeah, I wrote a dehash function because I um needed to use it again. So I went back to trying to add them back from our hash count thing, and realized I needed to convert them back to
Yeah,
this
you're
way.
right. Why is it saying that it's... Oh,
What I'm
it's
fixing right
unhappy
now.
that you... Yeah,
Yep,
there you go.
yep. I probably could have just
You
named my variables right or something, but it's okay.
you fixed the little yellow squiggly line.
Yep. And then so one thing that I didn't change and Go is not mad about anymore is just this plus plusing the hazard counts.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's test it out and see how it works.
Yeah, the other thing we didn't do, which is fine, just so we know, is we did not change it so they I didn't do one minus the count. It's the full count still. So that at least is what I expected, but we should probably do a -1 there so that they actually start going away.
Yeah, that is a good call.
And that would be right here. I just want to go down to count -1, so that we don't do that. Okay, I think we're good to try that again. I just added a -1 down here.
So this is interesting. I didn't realize that you could do a plus plus in a Go map.
I guess it worked, right? Because like we kind of saw it.
I mean, yeah, we were seeing it and it didn't throw an error, and I think it would have.
Yep. What?
Okay, so we're counting the number of hazards, and we're okay. That's what this section is doing.
Yep.
We're adding back the existing hazards.
Oh, one less than before.
Okay, hazard hash count. Oh, and because of the way Go maps are working, you're thinking that count will be 0. Or no, actually, it probably will just not. It'll not even iterate over the ones where count doesn't exist.
Yep, I think so, because I think we only put the ones with hazard hash in there. So I think this is just
Yep.
the key values of the counted ones.
Okay, so this should be ready to go. Let's try
I
it.
think so. We have to wait
I
like
see them getting lighter.
oh, look at that.
Oh, that's great.
That's pretty fun. So we're done. We did it.
Ta-da! Mission accomplished.
Except actually, like, is the counts right? One, two, like, I don't have, Hobbs doesn't have a trail of 7 there, right? Something might be messed up.
Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Ziggy's looks good, but, like, Hobbs has only got 4.
What happened here? Did it? Oh, I'm gonna pause the game.
Oh, it's, yeah.
Um,
Like, it's that,
so at this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What's this one
Yeah,
down
and what,
here?
well, I think we did cross there, so maybe that was like a real, oh no, we didn't actually cross, though. So,
Oh, here's the issue. When you eat food, it
oh,
doubles. Your tail is in the same location twice.
yeah,
So what we need to say is we only add. I think this is the problem where if you're adding, now we're adding 14 hazards
yep,
to that location, and that's why it takes so long to dissipate.
yep. So I think that
Not
one,
sure why your tail is behaving weirdly.
yeah, I do think those are separate, but that's very strange, agreed.
Oh, I think this is also an issue where you're eating food here.
There is food eating happening. That is true. Yeah.
You eat food here, your tail stays the same.
I didn't
That
actually
becomes a 14.
eat that food yet, though.
You eat another
There, I
one,
ate the
and so that's
food.
why there's two 2 spots here and here that are doubled up.
But it does seem like the other ones are decaying faster than they should, right?
Well, what I think it is because your tail actually hasn't. Your tail's only moved 5 spaces
Oh.
because you've eaten food twice or 3
In
times.
7 turns or whatever. I
Yeah,
gotcha. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So,
Okay, so maybe it is just that one bug.
okay.
I think we can handle that though. That sounds doable.
So maybe what we do down here is we say we need to check the count on that square. So we can say,
Yeah, so what do we think the fix here? What are we trying to do to like actually fix it here?
what I'm imagining is that we check the count on this square. If the count is, and we only increase it until it reaches 7.
You just want to do the max at 7? That makes sense.
Well, I think that's the simplest way to get something working.
The other thing I was thinking is if we want to like do just this double tail thing, we could check if like -1 and -1 and -2 are at the same spot and special case it there.
Yeah, we could say tail, or
Almost tail. I don't know.
yeah, almost tail. Also, and yeah, they would be camel case. So almost tail is going to be
Yep.
snake body. We're going to go ahead and assume that snakes always have a length of at least 3.
Yep. And also, if you don't have snakes of length 3, the board repo does some really funny things. So if you're making maps, always try to make your snakes at least length 3.
Yeah.
Just as an FYI.
Yeah, you ran into that, I think, when you were doing the maze, right?
Yeah, if in that GitHub PR, they found some really interesting things that happen when you have a 1 or a 2 body snake. When you have a 1, the snake's head direction never knows where to go, and I think it just looks one direction the whole time, so it like moves sideways, which is pretty hilarious. And then if you have a snake body of length 2, you can just go back and forth between 2 positions and tail chase indefinitely. Well, until you starve out. But that one also looks really, really funny.
Oh, that's super interesting. I didn't think about that.
I didn't either until I saw it, right? Like with 2, you just like keep switching positions and it just looks really funny. It's not like wrong, I guess, but it's funny.
Okay, so I think this works, right?
It looks like it.
We're
I
saying
think so.
if almost tail equals tail, so this is basically saying double tail.
And we're just gonna not do anything, which I think I think that makes sense.
Double tail means that the tail will stay on the same square for more than 1 turn. So we only want to spawn hazards if they're
or just so we don't want to spawn hazards. Just
yeah. So we don't want to spawn hazards.
Yeah. I think that makes sense to me, and I think this will look a lot nicer. I think you're right though also that the Hobbs tail not existing was really just the same thing, just looked weirder.
Okay.
There we go. Unless I guess we need to eat some food now to really tell if it helped us out. Wait,
are you
Hobbs
seeing
has
Hobbs
no
having
health? What is happening?
Hobbs, I think I think because the get customization endpoint timed out, what I think happens is that
it just like
it
broke
basically
the
has
UI.
no color for the UI to display.
Oh,
and so we don't
I see.
know. We don't know what Hobbs's health is.
Well, the tail thing is working really well though.
Yeah, and I think we probably got some kind of an error.
Oh, did we
So
freeze there?
Like the game ended.
Gotcha. What does the log say? Oh yeah, invalid character. The same one we've been getting this whole time. But the slime trails are looking pretty good there though.
Yeah, I think it's looking great. If only there was a way to make the tail go on top of the
yeah, how do we
or how do we delay it 1 turn?
Right? That's what I was trying to think out. I don't have an amazing idea there yet, but like how can we delay it 1 turn?
This looks really weird when you eat a food and your tail goes from like no hazard to full hazard.
Like right away, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hadn't
I
even
mean,
noticed that one. That one's weird for sure.
you can see that the double tail check is working at least.
That's true though. Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah. So we don't want there to. This is an interesting one. I'm not sure what exactly we want to do here.
Yeah, I think this is one where we need to remember some state from last time, right?
I think so, right? It definitely seems like we're at a state problem. I was really like kind of hoping this whole map would avoid this problem.
Right, the way of like taking a stack and then diminishing it by 1 every time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and that's where it ends because we yeah.
We had a timeout or something,
Yeah.
or some error. This is kind of cool looking. I like it.
No, I like it a lot. I do, yeah. I do think it would look a lot nicer if we could see the tails though. Yeah. Oh, well, we could try what you had thought of for storing state yesterday.
Yeah,
And
let's put hazards off the map and
Uh-huh.
see if we can use that to store. So basically, what we need to do is we need to store the tail location from last turn for each snake.
Yep.
And, well, what we really need to do is we need to store the tail location from last turn for each snake if it's not a double tail.
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so I think the first thing to do will just be to confirm that the rules seal or the rules do not break when you have hazards off map.
Yep. Yep.
Because out of bounds hazards would definitely. Well, I guess we can just check.
I was gonna say, we'll need to change our code too, but with what we have written, something weird will happen.
Check for out of bounds hazard.
Yep.
So we can say editor add hazard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you do have to make the point. Yep.
And we can say x is 100.
And then, oh, and I guess we can just look at the CLI-ish output and see if it's there. Just for like checking it.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just seeing if the game aired out.
It doesn't break.
I see a 100 in there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I do. It's moving, but I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, ta-da.
Cool. We have our state. Yes.
That was easy. I like that.
That's amazing.
So now we just have to actually like figure out how we want to implement this. I think doable for sure. We just have to
Okay.
Make
so
decisions.
What we're gonna say is well, number one, we need to clear hazards. When we add them back on, we need to discard out of bound hazards. So
because if we don't, the state will just continue to be saved. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we need to add a check here. I'm just going to comment in a couple things.
Yep.
Discard out of bound. Actually, wait. Yeah, we do. We can discard them in our hazard counts because that's what we're using to add them back in.
Yep.
But we can keep them by referencing, or when we need to, we can reference the last board state.
Yeah.
And actually, let's just go ahead and say we're going to have
make a new whatever to store something in.
And we're going to say and track or add non-double tail locations to a slice.
Yep.
So the go thing for tail locations is going to be use the make keyword to make a slice.
And then you just pass it the type, right?
What's the type of a slice?
Well, I think the type here is do we want... Oh, I see. You have to give it... Oh, okay. Yep. I gotcha. I forgot make didn't automatically make a slice. It makes anything.
Okay. Expects 2 or 3 arguments. Okay, here it is. So you can make a thing of int 0. What's the first item? Okay, this allocates an array of size 10 return
Oh.
slice of length 0 with
The
capacity
capacity.
10. So what we want to say is we want to return a thing of length 0, and we don't need to set a max capacity to something because we don't actually know.
Yep.
Actually, we could set the max capacity to the length of board snakes.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a maximum that we'd ever have of tails. We
Yep.
will have sometimes fewer than that, but that's okay.
Yep.
And then we need to discard out of bounds, add to tail locations.
Yep.
Oh, right. We're using the out of bound ones to track tail locations.
Yep.
So maybe what we can do is we can have like a little a function that's basically like store tail location. And this one's going to take a point, right?
Yep.
Like a point. And it also needs to take the width or the, I think it needs to take the width and height, right?
Maybe? Oh, yeah, so that we can definitely put it off board. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oops.
Thank you for fixing that.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it's going to return, it's not going to return anything.
If we don't want it to return anything, that makes sense, but we probably will also need to pass it the editor. If it's actually going to do the storing, putting it on the board.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, what do we want this function to do? Do we want it to actually like put the thing on the board, or do we want it just to return a point off board to then put it on later?
Let's have it return a point.
Okay.
And then we need another function that's basically going to be
like
get tail
yeah.
or get previous tail location. And this is also
this one.
What is it going to take?
I'm wondering is
we need an out of bounds point, so we're going to pass it the out of bounds point.
Okay, and so basically this is basically just going to be our hash d hash, but instead of hashing it, we're just going to move it to an out of bounds point, basically.
And we might need the width and height as well.
Yep, I think so.
So what I'm imagining is that we can basically say like we have our board here, and then we're just going to offset it one board to the side.
Yep.
So we probably don't need height.
Yep.
We probably just need width, right?
Or I think we only need one or the other. And we passed height to other things, so maybe we be consistent. Just our hashing functions.
So basically, we're going to push it up by the height.
Yeah.
So it's going to be above the space of the board by 1.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and they should be relatively straightforward, I guess, right? Like.
So if we're storing the tail location, we're going to be returning.
Yeah, and I'm just going to do this one.
Point.
Rules.point. Nice.
Yeah. Easy peasy. Okay, so we need to discard. We should probably do an out of bounds check, right?
Yeah, I definitely think we will want that. Yep.
There's probably one already, to be honest, somewhere in the.
Oh, there might be. Yeah.
But we can implement it.
Yeah, exactly.
For now, might be faster than trying to find the existing one, unless you want to go searching for it.
No, I like writing it ourselves. We got this. I think we are gonna need height and width, or a game state, or something.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe we should just do width and height as W and H.
Sure.
Also in Go, I don't know if you knew this, but you don't have to add the type hint if they're the same type.
Oh, whoa. So
in
it'll
other
pick
words,
the
like,
last one?
yeah, you do a comma separated list, and then all of the things in the comma separated
Whoa.
list will get the int type.
I did not know that. That's nifty.
Yeah. So
I think I thought that was a typo a few minutes
you
ago.
can write it the way you're thinking as well. It's just a little more verbose.
You can save yourself some characters. I like that. No, I
Mhm.
definitely didn't know that. That's nifty though.
So
Okay, so we got our
the
we got our function.
pattern, I'm also going to call this P.
Nice. Especially for these nice small helpers, no reason to be.
I know. Also, Go actually, if you look at the official Go style, they tend to favor small or short variable names. So
Yeah,
we're not even straying from
We're-
idiomatic Go, I think.
we're writing good Go, or at least idiomatic
As a matter
Go,
of fact, I
exactly.
believe that this kind of lengthy thing is probably a little long for Go.
Yeah, that's fair. We could figure out a way to shorten it up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good idea for that right off the bat. Okay, so
Yeah.
we need to return if P is X is less than 0, or P dot Y is less than 0, or P dot X is greater than or equal to width.
Oh, yep.
Or P dot Y is greater than or equal to height.
Yep.
Okay.
So then back down in here in our update board, we want to do something like if out of bounds. Good for you, Copilot. If it is out of bounds, we want to so like offboard tail or something is gonna be our store tail location.
Yep.
And then I guess we probably then want to do editor
Well, I think we're gonna add that to the tail locations.
Oh, we created our array. Yep.
We have a slice that we can add them to.
And I think just appending is right?
That is correct. Yep.
And I didn't actually
Copilot,
do that. That was exactly.
Copilot knows its stuff.
That's also why I really like Copilot for languages that I'm not super duper familiar with, because like it will just do the right thing a lot of the time.
Yeah, I've heard that it's quite good for Go as well, because Go tends to have very similar like style across the board, and so it's better at guessing Go because there's more examples of similar code out there.
Yeah, like the appending to an array, or that's common across all of them. It was able to get that really easy. Not that that's a hard one, but it definitely worked well.
But it's interesting that it actually did screw up and add hazard dot point.
Yeah, it's done that same thing a few times where it's tried to call dot point on our point, which like it's easy to catch, but it is weird.
Yeah, so it's not perfect.
No,
it's good because otherwise, that's one step towards replacing us with AI.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're gonna. One thing we haven't done here is we need to check for non-double tails. So I think what we should do is we should add like a little.
Well, so what I was thinking is if we just don't store the double tails off board, we don't have to check when we bring them back. This helper sounds great though. Anyways, always good to have a helper.
Well, I was thinking we could just write a little helper that returns Boolean if it's a double tail.
Yep.
I think that would.
I think that's helpful. Anyways, we already have that logic somewhere else.
Yeah, we're doing that almost tail in the tail.
Yep.
It's cleaner to have that as a separate.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we can just return this, I think.
Yep. Nice. Nice.
I think it's telling us that we don't use it.
I think so, yeah.
But now we can say if
double tail
snake continue.
Yep.
I did it to where I
pass a, what is it called? Reference? Yeah.
Reference to the snake. I'm assuming we don't want to copy it when we pass it to a function by value.
Seems sane.
And then we can get rid of this. This can go down here.
Oh, we do still need tail. You're right. I was going to delete it, but you're right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this might be a place where that, I think we're going to change that in a second, but to keep the code correct from before, that's right. I think, though, that instead of adding the tail to the board here, this is where we want to add it off board.
Yes, that is a good point.
So, like, maybe we do something like this again. We do off board tail where we, and then we add off board tail. We add hazards to, oh, actually, no.
Actually, no, we don't even need to, yeah.
We probably
can
need to
just store
add
the-
one, though, right?
Well, what we need to do now is we need to iterate over the tail locations that are off board, which we stored up here in the slice.
Yep.
So I think,
Well, so I think those are different parts of code, because right here is where we want to remember. This is where we need to
Yep.
remember what the tail was.
Yep.
So we need to store it
Yep.
off board, but probably just once.
you're right. Yep. Good call. And then below that, now we're going to have a new section.
Yeah.
And this is going to be, we're going to read offboard tails and apply 7
Yep.
hazards. Right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
And we're not maxing it at 7. Like they can go above 7 potentially.
That's at least
Is
what
that
we've
we're thinking?
decided so far.
Okay. So now we're going to say 4. What would this be? A point.
Yep.
For P.
Yep.
In range, and then we can do offboard. Wait,
I think it's
what
just
did we
called
call
tail
that?
locations, though
Tail locations.
maybe could get a better name. Yep. And then that finally is going to stop that append from being yellow, I think.
Yeah, and then now we can say for. So what was the? Walk me through the.
Oh,
the
yeah.
syntax.
So it's.
Oh.
We do have it somewhere else. It's this.
Yep. Okay, so we initialize it. It's kind of like a C or C++ style.
Yeah, like a traditional for loop instead of a for each loop. It's been so long since I wrote something like this.
Or an old. Oh wait. This is just going to be 7, right?
Yep.
I remember JavaScript actually used to have.
Yeah.
Used to not have like the for each in the earlier versions of JavaScript either.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're gonna do editor, add hazard.
And actually, I do think we want add hazard here, but I feel like we're messing up our on and off board translations. Because if it's off board, this is wrong. Up top, if you scroll up a bit, line 104, when we know it's out of bounds, we're currently calling store tail location, but I think this wants to be get previous tail location. It wants to decode it. Because we already know it's off board. So we want to onboard it. Right? Because this is reading things that were off the board. And now we want them to be on the board so that we can add them as hazards in a second down.
Okay, so when we get a previous tail location, it returns the point on the board.
Yep.
It reads it off board and then returns it on board.
Yep.
Okay. So you're right. Okay, so now we're getting an on board. Yep, this is great. I love it.
And then I think at the bottom we were just doing, because there's no conversion on line 140. We just add that hazard. So I think that's good.
Okay, let's try it out. And anyone in chat, if we're building a custom map for Battlesnake right now, if you're just joining.
Yeah.
Which hopefully you'll see here in a minute.
Okay, well.
It's not working.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It is definitely not working exactly. That is definitely accurate. It feels
well,
like
I would say it is working, but it's working the same as it was before.
So that's weird.
Okay, let's let's go ahead and look at the output and see
Yep.
if we can tell what's happening. Oh, we just didn't save our source file.
Oh, that'll do it.
Do you notice we still have that 100 in the output?
Oh, nice. Good catch. Well, actually, we should just remove that from the code.
Oh,
But now we're saved and without our 100. Oh,
I think it's working.
I think we did it. Well, okay, there we go. It just took a sec to keep going, but that's fine.
I think we frozen.
I think we just broke.
But
We broke the game again.
okay, it's fine. I'll close out some of these guys and.
I end up like this with so many of these once it gets started. That's a lot of CLI output.
Yeah, there's too many items here.
And they're all the same. It's 145 repeated like infinity. Why is it even 100? 100's not even like a special number. Oh, no, I bet that was from before I removed the 100 check and it was trying to on and off board. It was just getting very confused.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
You saved the change now.
I think so.
Let's try it one more time.
No more circle. We got the X this time up top.
Okay. Oh, this is good.
Yep.
This is good.
We can still see our actual snake tails.
Yes.
That was it. That worked. Okay.
I think this is just because Ziggy doesn't. Why is Ziggy doing this?
Oh, that is interesting. I actually didn't even pay attention to the fact that Ziggy should just go right.
Ziggy is assuming basically that they can go left, up, left, and that's a safe route
because it just doesn't know of the slime. Yeah. It knows that when there's hazard on the board, it can't run into them, but it doesn't predict the slimes.
Yeah, you'd have to do some custom.
And then on this turn, Ziggy realizes they're dead, right? Like it's not this turn. Yeah, that makes sense.
But at this turn, they still assume that it's a totally fine option, and they can go up and around.
Yep. So yeah, well, that would be what if this gets in the fall league, things will need to improve on. Oh, Hobbs has customizations this time.
We have the awesome
the colored ones.
Ooh, Hobbs went through the slime trail there.
Yeah. Hobbs really likes going through hazards is when they know there's a food on the other side. They're a big fan of that move.
I mean, it's a perfectly valid way to go.
We might want to replay and just check that these hazard damages are getting applied correctly.
Okay.
Because Hobbs keeps going through them, and I just feel like they're not losing the health I would have expected them to.
Does the game rule actually work in terms of applying double hazards?
I thought we had determined it did at one point, but I guess we're about to find out. Oh, we broke it. But
what's happening over here?
We just got our normal.
It's doing that invalid character.
Yeah.
I gotta pause before I can go back. So you're wondering if it
was pretty early.
They go through
like that right there, or was it gone by the time they went through? Because they just didn't take any extra damage.
So I think what's interesting though is because if the hazard is applied the same, like basically the head moves in and then the hazard is applied. I wonder if it's in that order.
I think that's safe. Yep.
Yeah, so it actually never moves into hazard. The hazard is appearing on its head.
Just a little bit before for Hobbs, because I think Hobbs does it like 3 turns ago here, right there. This one.
So you're saying this up move. It does take away a big chunk.
I just didn't notice that when I was watching the game live. So we're all good there. Okay.
I don't know how many. 1, 2, 3. So that's
45.
How many hazards are there?
That feels reasonable.
I'm just guessing. Yeah.
3 times 15 would be 45, and that feels like about 45 that was lost from the bar.
Yeah. So I mean, it is a bit interesting. I think as a viewer, it's a bit unintuitive that when you see this happening, it feels a little weird. Like it seems like that should be applying damage, and also just covers up the snake's head. We could do a fun thing where we store up like if this situation were to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I guess.
Well, so
like basically we could say like apply hazards, but don't do it immediately. So basically, like the snake would look clean Actually, yeah, it would basically be saying don't apply hazards in this situation because you're doing a direct tail chase.
Yeah, and I guess I think we can know that state, right? Like, we can know, because basically what we're saying is even if we wanted to put a hazard on the board because of the off tail stuff, like we had saved a position, but don't apply it yet unless the head's
You
not
can say
there.
don't apply it unless the head is not there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to damage the snake anyway, so it's just visually confusing.
Yep. Well, I think that's totally sane. The interesting thing is, would we want it to be there afterwards for the trail, or do we just want to skip it?
Well, it'll get there eventually when the tail comes across
Oh,
it.
because they're tail chasing. Okay, yeah, I like it. I'm down.
The tail will have to go across the square,
Yep.
so I think we could do that check. Okay, so the check we need to do is,
And we should.
what we need to do is before we apply it, we need to check that it does not equal one of the snake's heads.
Yep. And I think we should do it for any snake head. Seems sane, at least for a first version.
Yeah, so we could say for
Yep.
snake in range snakes. The head is going to be actually we get a snake head by default, I believe. We can say
Oh, yeah.
if p.x equals.
Oh, actually, I don't think we do. We can just do body at 0.
Okay.
But yeah, their struct that they store doesn't have the head that you get in JSON. That's something they must add at the API level.
Okay, that's fine. We can do.
Yeah.
I keep wanting like an equals function, but I'm not sure there one exists.
Yeah, and that's just something, writing more Rust recently. It's interesting that we have to like decompose this to check equality.
Okay, the other thing we need to do is we need to exit out of we need to continue the other loop. So we need to like say.
Well, I think can we just not do a continue?
Well, continue will continue out of this inner loop.
Oh, and that's exactly what we don't want. Yeah, you're right. I gotcha. Yep.
I'm imagining that we can store the state up here and then set is head equals true.
Yep.
Break. And then we can say if is head continue.
Yep.
I'd like when a lot of languages, I'm not sure if Rust have this, they have a way to label a loop so that you can say, like in Zig, you could say this would be like the outer loop. I think it's something like that. And then you say
break out of that one.
Outer.
Oh, that's cool.
And then it allows you to break out of the outermost loop.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, that's not something I'm have used in Rust, so I kind of think it doesn't exist. But I could be wrong for sure. That's nifty though. I like that.
Both of the previous languages I've worked with, Nim and Zig, have that feature.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I like it. It's a good feature.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, especially for this. Yeah, exactly what we were doing here. We had 3. They weren't all nested, but we had 3 different loops. Would have been nice to be able to name them.
Yeah, exactly. Like especially when you're doing like nested loops.
Yep.
And usually you can reorganize the code to work differently, but it's just a little bit of extra verbosity. Like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra lines here.
Yep.
Okay, so this should fix that issue.
Yeah. As long as we save, we did. We're good.
We're learning.
Yep, exactly. No customizations, but that's okay. So we just need to wait for someone to tail chase. Ziggy at least got to the 4 length. That's helpful.
Yep. I mean, it could not happen.
It could take a while. Exactly. See, and this is when I don't have this, but I've wanted for map creation. Oh, there you go.
Yep.
That was a tail chase that did exactly what we wanted it to, I think. That looked so much better. You're right. That was so much cleaner looking than the other style.
I mean, it is like if you're thinking of them leaving a hazard trail behind them, it's a little bit like so wait a second. If you immediately follow yourself, you don't get the hazard, but
Yeah, it
I don't
doesn't
know.
fit like maybe the theme quite as well, but I think it makes for
Yeah,
much more interesting games for sure, or at least
and
looks
it
nicer.
looks visually correct at least. Like it's
Yeah.
not confusing.
So these
Oh,
head-to-heads, something about these head-to-heads is blowing up something. This is the second time
uh,
we've ended up in a potential head-to-head position, and we got our
yeah,
invalid character.
yeah. Hmm.
I was gonna say I'm curious enough to look at my ngrok and see. Yeah, I'm like my ngrok like little proxy claims I sent a left move in 350 milliseconds. So weird.
Okay. Okay, so I need to check out a new branch. What do you want to call this? Snail mode?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna add maps. Snail mode. Okay, what's a good commit message?
Oh, I was gonna say we like did quite a few things. It's almost just add the whole game mode.
Do you want to? Should we describe it at all in the commit comment, or just leave it as this?
Either way, doesn't I don't think it matters a ton. It depends on how PRs end up getting merged in rules, but I always end up
We can always
squashing merging.
rebase and
Fair.
yeah.
We can clean it
Also,
up
I don't know.
ourselves.
I don't know how to add multiple authors. It would be nice if it did that.
I do like, well, I don't know how. I know it's possible, and I think we could figure out how to munge the git CLI, but I think it's also okay. We'll survive. You added the authors to the metadata as both of our names, and I feel like that
Yeah. I mean, I added our first names. Maybe we
mm-hmm.
should.
Well, actually, that's an interesting point. What did I write for my name in my other one? I think I probably did my username. I did. Uh,
Oh
but
yeah.
doesn't matter. I just used my username. It's the same as my name. It's not like it was very hidden.
Well, what we
But it
could
doesn't matter too
do
much.
is okay. I'm just going to commit this.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, let's change it to
Go username style.
my GitHub name. I'm assuming is the same as your
I was gonna
name
say,
you
yeah.
entered.
Yep. I'm pretty consistent as long as it's not taken on the platform.
Yeah. Okay, let's do a stress test
Oh yeah.
of I'm thinking.
You want to throw some extra snakes on there? I was gonna say we can. I think Hobbs can handle having at least a few. I'll do like at least two of them here. I was gonna say I could probably go with more, but I am running it from the same machine as all of this OBS stuff, so I'm not gonna overload it too much.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. I think Ziggy has a mechanism to where if there's more than two games
Oh
playing
yeah,
concurrently, it times out in 50 milliseconds. So I think Ziggy should be fine.
at
So this will give
least.
us 8 players. Do you want to change the? I'm wondering if we could change the width and height.
Oh yeah, we can make it a little bigger for sure.
Um,
I'm fine with pretty much any size. Size isn't gonna affect Hobbs too much.
I'm gonna go 19 by 19.
I like it.
With 8 players, I think that's a good amount.
Yeah, I think 11 by 11 would definitely be a little small for that.
Okay. Saved it. Yep, good.
Nice. Oh, only one of Hobbs got customizations, and then we blew up like almost immediately.
Yep. But we almost saw the
I
game.
was gonna
Okay.
say we almost got there.
Oh, we got a different error this time. Invalid character
Different.
G in literal null.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
Oh, waiting for a response from my server. Oh, so that could have been an actual like timeout on one of the Hobbses.
Okay.
Where like did my server crash? Oh yeah, cool. I have crashes in my actual server code. So I'm obviously not returning valid JSON when I crash, which isn't overly surprising to me. Not great, but you know. I wonder if that's been happening more, and I haven't been checking my actual like snake logs. Oh yeah, I'm getting lots
Yeah.
of. I have some good panics in here. Out of bounds index stuff. Oh, I'm just gonna check in my code really quick. I'm not gonna put my thing on screen yet.
Do you think it's the out of bounds hazards that are causing your server to air out?
Oh, that's an interesting question. But I that wasn't my initial thought. So let me actually check what I was thinking. I think I have a badly hard-coded thing in one of my scoring function. I call it my spread from head, where I try to determine how much space like Hobbes
Mhm.
thinks they can take up. Um, and if I'm remembering correctly, I have like an 11 by 11 hard-coded in here. I'm not finding it right now, but I think that's likely the case. But we were playing at 11 by 11 for a while. So
And we got occasional errors, but not like
not all
every
the time.
time.
Yeah, and actually I'm not finding that line of code anyway, so maybe I was wrong about that. Um oh yeah, I'm using a vec now. It's resizable. I'm actually not sure. So it's definitely something in my code. But I don't know exactly what it is. I don't think it's all the out of bounds. Like again, like you were saying, it's not every time, so I don't think it's
Yeah.
every out of bounds hazard is causing it. But ooh,
Well,
these
this
look
is
really
kind of
fun.
fun. This is kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, I had tabbed away, but I really like this. This is fun. And actually, when we started out, I was thinking 7 might be a little long, but I actually really like this tail length. I think it's
Yeah.
a good tail length.
Okay, here's a question. Do you think the tail length should be dependent on the length of the snake?
Oh, that would be fun.
Because we could make it to where, oh, something interesting happened up there where like another snake crossed over
Did it
the
like
slime trail, but they did it like with no gap, and so it
so
worked.
it intercept? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there, and I think so that's actually interesting. One thing when we were talking yesterday was we were saying this was gonna eliminate tail chasing or make it a lot hard, like kind of eliminate tail chasing as a strategy. But I think how we coded up the your head doesn't get covered case and how everything worked, it means you actually can do a tail chase if it's like a perfect tail chase.
Yes. And actually, this is really interesting because the perfect tail chase is more risky when you're chasing another snake because they could eat food
Yeah,
and then it would kill you. Um,
I like this.
so I'm almost thinking that the if we made the length of the hazard or the amount of hazards deposited scale with the snake length,
Mm-hmm.
it would enforce like an end game because you'd get these really like at this point they'd be depositing 15 hazards at
Yeah.
once. That could be kind of well, we could see how it works.
Yeah, I'm down to at least try it out.
Okay.
Do you want to actually take just a break from mapping and go back to some platinum games for just a few?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had talked about going back and forth.
Yeah. Go ahead and
Awesome. Give me just a sec to make
take
sure
the screen share
I
when you're
am
ready.
set up. Well, I'll close some of my tabs about how to do things in Go.
All right, of course. I know every time I switch programming languages, I have like a million tabs that are just the absolute basics. Like, how do
Yeah,
I do a for loop
yeah.
in Go, or how do I do a map?
I was gonna say that. Yeah, I think the map one I had open and the for loop I definitely did last time and kind of remembered enough. But yeah, it's so funny,
Yeah.
like the things that seem so like kind of basic, but takes us we don't remember. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I,
switch
I,
this.
I can remember, like, I have space in my brain to remember that for one language,
Yeah,
but the moment I start swapping languages all the time, then I can't keep it straight.
yeah, and even like at work when I'm doing kind of two languages, like Ruby and TypeScript or JS, even that's too much for me sometimes. I'll one every other day I'll just have to remember which language I'm in.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the brackets again. We
Oh,
looked at
sweet.
round 1 already. Um, do we want to look at the finals here? Do we want to take a look at another round? What sounded
The
interesting?
finals, well, actually,
Let's
I feel like
just
all the games were really interesting.
I know,
So,
right? Uh, let's look through some group Bs. We'll look at another one of our DigitalOcean team member rounds and just see what happened.
Oh yeah, CLJ Hinch actually moved on from this round.
Yeah, yeah. And they did pretty good. They got to the semifinals and then, had
Yeah.
some tough competition. Yeah, Nessagrav and Ami both in this semifinal B is a tough one.
Yep.
All these snakes were tough though. It's not really like any of these ones were any different.
I know. I feel like the competition was pretty stiff this time.
Yeah, I'm excited and terrified for the elite competition next week.
I know.
I was gonna say I was doing the same thing as some of these platinum snakes, where I was jumping back up between elite and platinum, and we ended on an even day for me, so I ended up in elite instead of platinum. But it definitely could have been the opposite if we had gone one
Yep.
more day.
I know. I feel like sometimes when you're right on the edge there between the two, it can really go either way.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was noticing is because we're like the last round stats are stuck on the last round that happened in the league, which makes a lot of sense. But I went up 11 places in that last time, from like 26th to 15th. Just really swinging back and forth. It's kind of crazy. Oh. So I didn't do an amazing job of shoutcasting that, but we got to K, Gaffle, and Debug Do Not Commit at the end. And what did Debug do? Oh, is this one of the food ones? This is like we were talking about. This is what you were just saying. The opponent tail chase where they can eat food is a risky move.
And I think Big Bold Flank actually said in the chat that this was one of the things that they knew was a weakness of their snake, but they didn't have a chance to fix it before the tournament.
Do you remember what the other one they were saying was? Just curious. I think they had another one that they remembered.
Yeah, because they listed two different issues they knew that they knew were issues,
Yeah.
and then both of them apparently came up in the tournament.
Well, I guess if we keep going, maybe we'll just see another game and can figure it out.
We might see the other.
Yeah.
We might see the other problem.
But
yeah, this is one of those cases where the food actually, at the point where Debug Snake turns left.
No, I think this. I think I know what you're remembering, but this one looks like it's there most of the time.
I mean, like if you wait till they go up, so forward a couple moves, right here, they could go up from that position instead of left.
I think there might be just a lag because I'm not looking at that. You're looking at turn 599?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna hang out on this turn for just a sec because I think there was just enough of lag that we were confusing each other.
Oh, you're right. I'm watching the wrong. Hold on.
Oh yeah.
I will watch the up to date.
Oh yeah, the slightly more up to date video.
I was watching the Twitch chat, which is delayed by a couple seconds.
Yeah, but I also totally was missing this as well, that they could just go up here. You're totally right. I didn't pay attention.
They could go up and then loop around, like so, up, right, down.
Yep, and just like go through this loop.
I think that would work.
Yep. Yeah, and actually what's even more interesting is like we know that this was just something that Big Bold Flank knew about and hadn't coded in. So not surprising, but it's kind of interesting that K Gaffle here at this turn is actually forced to get the food, right? They don't have another option. So Big Bold Flank, Debug Snake could know that it's like an immediate death to go left. It's not even a guess at this point.
Yeah.
But
But that was definitely something they just didn't get time to code in.
Exactly, and that's it's an interesting one too. It's kind of edgy, except for I think it does happen more often in these arcade mazes than in other maps.
Yeah, for sure. And I think actually with a couple small changes like that can be the difference sometimes between Platinum and Elite.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when there's the good competition. Those few changes can be big.
Yeah.
So that was that first game. Let's go to the next one in this round.
I'm finishing off like a whole pot of coffee while you've been on stream.
There you go.
I'm wired. I'm ready to go.
Very caffeinated.
Yes.
I want to go back once we're done. I think K Gaffle might have actually lost to a timeout here as well. Another one of those unfortunate timeouts.
Yeah. Yep. I think I remember that happening actually.
Yeah. Oh, but CLJ Hench doing good. Oh, is this another food one again?
Yeah, same issue actually that we were talking about.
Yeah. Yep. Wow, so 2 in a row. That's kind of interesting. Wouldn't have expected that necessarily. Oh, and they were tail chasing for a little while.
So the food that gets eaten is already on the board when they make the decision to go left.
Yep.
On 428.
Yep.
They could at this point wrap around, but I'm not sure it's safe to wrap. I'm not sure it's safe to do anything besides left at this
Besides
point.
go left. Yeah. It doesn't
You could go.
immediately unsafe.
It's not immediately unsafe. I think you could get away with it because
Yeah.
in 1, 2, 3, 3 moves you have another choice to go up or down, and you could base
1,
it
2,
on
3.
whether ebb drop is
Went up
decided to
or right.
go right up or right right.
Oh yeah, because they have their choice here too. Mm-hmm.
If they went right right right, then I think it would be safe for CLJ Hinch to go down.
Yep,
And
exactly.
if they went right up, then
going,
you could go up.
wrapping to come over here would be safer. Yep. Yeah, it definitely seems like if I were to guess, this would be the decision point right here at 428. But that tail chase is so tricky with so much food on the board.
Yeah. And I think there's one more level of trickiness that you get into with tail chasing where you have food that doesn't exist yet but could spawn.
Yeah.
And that definitely is much trickier to predict, but I don't think we're even getting to that level in these games.
Yeah. Do you do any of that? Just curious. I don't do any future food prediction, even though I know the positions they spawn here. I don't do anything like that in Hobbs.
I do actually, yes.
Nice.
I predict a chance for food to spawn, and that's part of the Monte Carlo playout for Ziggy.
Nice. Yeah, so you at least get some information there about what ones could be coming.
Ziggy has other weaknesses that are holding it back, not the food issue. It's actually pretty good on the food.
Nice. So before we go on to the next game, I think we already knew, especially from the timeout on the side here, but I just want to see K Gaffle's timeout here. See if it was anything interesting. Oh yeah, just standard-ish arcade maze. You only have one option, and it wasn't going straight, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and some of these timeouts are so interesting because it's not like the snakes are like just barely touching the 500, right? This is at 300 for most of these.
Yeah.
So really was just, something got something more exceptional rather than just you took a few too many milliseconds.
Yeah. And look at the interesting, CLJ Hinch is actually not doing a very high timeout at all.
No.
Do you know if they are doing a tree surge or if they're doing more?
I don't know,
like
actually.
Snake?
They're the bright green, right? Yeah. So they're pretty consistent in this 100 to 200 range. A spike at 250 there, but in the grand scheme, that's pretty low.
Yeah, it is pretty low.
Yeah, super interesting. I don't know what they're, if they're a tree search snake or otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a bunch of issues with timeouts, and I know a lot of people have this league.
Yeah. I haven't had too many. Once I got on the DigitalOcean in the same region, they've seemed to be pretty good. But I haven't been watching super closely, so I guess we'll see on Saturday.
Question, for your DigitalOcean droplet, do you have a firewall?
I do not.
Okay.
I'm running a firewall on the box, but I'm not using their because they have a firewall thing as well, right? Like one of their products.
Do.
Yeah.
But you do have a firewall on the machine itself.
Yeah, I'm using what is it? UFW, the not universal. Maybe it's universal. Firewall, just the fairly simple one that comes with Ubuntu. It's basically just block. Well, I actually use Tailscale. Or do you know of Tailscale?
No.
So it's like a little VPN type thing, but like very much easier to set up than traditional VPNs. So when I SSH into my box, I do it over that Tailscale VPN. So I've actually locked down the box, and it only accepts like HTTP on port, the HTTP ports 80 and 443, and doesn't accept any other connections on any other ports from the public internet.
Okay.
And then just accepts my SSH on my in the VPN.
Because I think we had a really long discussion on Discord about timeouts, and I think it was Chillfox who said that it helped to have a firewall and also to use a port that was not the default HTTP port.
Oh, interesting.
And so I actually did that for Ziggy just last night to see if it would help. I added a firewall.
Oh, okay.
And put the port to a non-standard one.
Nice.
And I think there were fewer timeouts, but I need to gather more information.
So just on that a different port thing, I have a URL and everything in like DNS set up for mine. But I definitely get lots of random requests, the standard like trying to find WordPress admin and all of those standard things. That I don't think are taking a lot of time to respond with a 404 to, but when we're talking in milliseconds, it probably would be good to flip it to a non-standard port, and I would imagine get less of those.
Yeah, 'cause I'm assuming it must be like bots that are just like trying to find common vulnerabilities and spamming random IP addresses. Is that what it's caused by?
I think so. I think basically, especially in IP4 where there's just like a sane enough number of IP addresses, I think people just like try the whole internet basically and see what they see.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think moving. Well, I think I have a few things, right? I have a domain, so it's like in DNS, easy to find. It exists, and I'm just on the standard the HTTP ports, so I could definitely try to obscure it a little bit that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether that's the main issue or not,
Yeah.
but I'm trying everything at this point because I'm.
Yeah, exactly. When you run out of good ideas, I try all kinds of bad ideas at the end.
I mean, you never know what's the good idea until you
Yeah,
try it and see how it works. That's the
exactly,
thing.
exactly. Um, just curious while we're chatting about things, I'm gonna pull up a next game. But how do you get your snake onto your digital ocean droplets? Are you using Docker or anything, or just putting it right on the droplets? You've spun up a lot, so I imagine you got this process down.
Yeah, so basically, I have a service that's running. So like a Linux service, I don't know what to call it exactly.
Yeah,
Whatever the thing you start with system
system.
CTL.
Yep.
So I have a service that's running that runs the web server, and then it's just an executable for the actual server, and I just copy those files up to the server, and then stop the service, restart the service when I swap out the executable file.
Nice. Yeah. Do you?
And I have it automated with Python, so
That's
basically like
that was my
similar
next
to
question.
our test. Yeah,
Yeah.
similar to our test command that we're running. I have a Python command that does the build and then copies the files to the server and
Nice.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
What's happening here?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's happening at the very end of this game. Oh, they're just out of health in general. This was the other thing. I
Oh,
forgot. This was it.
yep.
They just don't
Yeah, not
eat
eating enough food. Yeah.
because they're right by the food here, and they like could have.
Mhm.
And they just decided not to. Um, so
That's
yeah,
interesting because there's so many routes to this board that do contain food just naturally
yeah,
that I think you could actually get away. You could go a long ways without actually seeking food.
yeah. Well, and I think this debug snake do not commit is a testament to that, right? They made it to the platinum
Yeah.
tournament with I think basically no explicit food detection or anything.
Which is kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there are just so many. Just talking about the food spawns. I think we both played with the map when it was just the three in the middle here.
Mhm.
And I like these games much better with more food spawns.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
a little.
With only 3 in the center, basically there was not enough food to keep 4 snakes alive. And so
Yep.
2 would almost always starve out in the first 100 or 200 moves. And then you'd have a 1v1.
Yeah.
Um, and it was very much like control the center kind of meta, where you
Yeah.
had to control the center, otherwise you would starve.
Yeah.
Whereas now it opened up the board to a lot more possibilities.
Yeah. Exactly. I had actually added, and actually it might still be there because I'm not sure I removed it when they changed the food spawns to like really try to prefer the center a bit more because like you're saying that was really what mattered in those first wasn't even in the league, that was like pre-league, we were just messing around I believe.
Yeah.
Stuff. But I do like how all the food spawns added made it nicer there. I think that was the third one.
Yeah, I think so. So it's so hard to follow when they're playing in fast motion like this.
I know, right? And especially with 4. Once it gets down to 2 like this, I feel like I can follow it a little bit better.
Mhm.
But at 4 in this fast speed, it's too much. But I have had it set to this fast speed because the games are so long that anything lower it just takes me forever to get through games.
Yeah. definitely.
What's this one? Just a made the wrong choice a few moves ahead, kinda. Yep.
I think what we saw debug snake actually running out of health again, I believe,
Oh, did we see that a bit ago?
early
Here,
on.
let's scrub her to that.
It was going by really fast, but I think I saw their health tick down.
Oh, and that makes sense from like where we see their little superimposed thing over here. Yep.
Yeah,
They're just
definitely. So I
looping.
think I think they really love this little loop right here, actually.
Yeah, this little one
Um,
right here. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, then I think this might not even have been the only. We've seen this. I'm not sure it was always snake drop, but we've seen this a few times too, where someone goes into this little like loop-de loop corner, but does it slightly wrong, and gets themselves
Oh
trapped.
yeah. Oh no.
Like
Yep.
if they went up here first, then they could loop out, but they trapped themselves a little bit.
It's interesting to me because I feel like Snake Drop does do some kind of area calculation because they're pretty good.
Yeah.
So I wonder if this is some kind of edge case that they are not accounting for or what's happening here. Because I feel like they didn't do this all the time,
Mm-mm.
and they clearly are pretty good getting to the platinum tournament. So
Yeah.
I almost think that maybe there's some kind of issue
Yeah.
that's unique to this kind of like dead end corner.
Yeah. And like I don't know if I'm probably reading a little too much into this, but in lots of tree searchy snakes and mine specifically, if I know I'm dead, I don't take my whole 400 milliseconds anymore. And maybe snake drop does regardless, but they're still doing 400 milliseconds for all of these last few turns. But hard to know if I'm
Yeah.
reading into that one too much.
It's too bad we don't have the authors of each of the snake in chat
I
that
know,
can
right? That's always the nicest
give us
way.
more insight.
But yeah, then yeah, debug snake really just goes for the loop in here for a little too long.
Yeah.
And actually, I wanted to go all the way back. I think at the end it was just a relatively, yeah, because CLJ's hench's tail's gonna go away in 1, 2, 3, 4,
Mhm.
5. Yeah, so I think K Gaffle could go left here
Could go left, yeah.
and continue on. But you did need quite a few turns of look ahead to not know to go up here.
Yeah, because actually the look ahead 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6, 7, at least
I mean,
8,
it's like
8 or 9.
9 to even get all the way to the left by the time you know the tail's not going to be there.
That's true too.
Um,
Yep.
And you wonder what kind of heuristic they're doing on each of those evaluations too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and we also could be, it might not even be a tree search look ahead style like we're kind of assuming here. We just don't really know, unfortunately.
yeah. Although if you click on the snake, does it? You can see if there's a description
Yeah,
of the snake.
from here I
that
can, right? Kotlin Heroku, with
KTOR.
yeah. Does that mean anything to you?
I do not know what KTOR is. I'm
Ooh.
assuming that it's a Kotlin thing.
Yep. Asynchronous, like I think it's the web server basically.
Yeah,
Oh,
that makes sense.
by JetBrains. That's fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I like JetBrains. Cool. So that didn't help us, unfortunately, know anything about how their snake works, but that's still fun to know. Let's see, did their profile? No backstory. That's okay. I actually don't even know if I have a backstory in mine. I should probably do that at some point. Let's see the last one here. So I think we kind of know this. Oh, didn't work. I think we know Snake Drop's gonna win this one because they also made it through. And yeah, see,
yeah.
JL Hench is out of it now. They advanced already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm very. I think I'm worried for Hobbs for next week that I don't always they don't always do well in the beginning when there's 4 snakes. If they get down to duels, they can do a lot better. But
Yep.
it's getting there. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, and so you do get a bit of a chance when there's only 3 snakes, but sometimes by the time there's only 3 snakes, the other snakes have already racked up a win.
Yeah.
Which means you might be playing from behind where you would have to get 2 wins to their 1.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess now thinking about it, I kind of hope that someone just can sweep through the beginning and let no one else get points on the board till we get down to 3.
Who's in your bracket? There may be a snake in there that's
Ooh,
strong
yeah.
enough to do that.
So, well, I guess I didn't think about it when I was looking at it the first time. My bracket didn't look quite as scary as some of them. Let's go through that for a second, because it's fun. You've got a hard round in your first group here.
I actually would not be surprised if I lost out, because I think Soma is quite strong.
Yeah, and
Matter of fact, I think the only reason why Soma is not higher up in the tree or in the ladder is because they had timeout issues.
yeah,
I think most of the time, if they did not time out, they beat me.
they were doing really good. Yeah, so let's just take a look.
Yep.
Yeah, well, and then you have Combat Reptile in your bracket, which just they're pretty. Them and Shapeshifter are really dominating the top half here. Oh yeah, and then Soma is in 5th right here. I actually wasn't sure where they were.
Soma actually climbed quite a few spots.
Yeah, and then actually, so are you? Yeah, because then here's Snake. Hidoku maybe. But you're the low snake in your round.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think I am as well. But you've got a tough one for sure. I'm excited that Pruz knows how to rap now. Because that's
nice.
Fun.
That was a long time where they didn't know how to rap, but still did pretty well, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think in spring they didn't know how to rap at all and made it at least to the tournaments. I don't remember which one they made it in, but just super impressive.
Yeah.
And then Whitish.
They also shot up to the ladder really fast. Like, they were only in the ladder for less than a week, I believe.
Yeah. Probably can find that somewhere.
They qualified for. You need to go to the old ladder mode if you want to see the statistics.
Do you know how to? I think I can URL there, but I don't remember what it is. That's fine.
I know there was discussion of the ladder in.
So there, I think at one point the leaderboard link from here still took you to the old ladder, but I don't think it does anymore. I think they collapsed to the new ladder. But that's okay. But yeah, no, Pruz did shoot up really quickly.
The old ladder, I believe.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Pruz shot up really, really quickly at the end there. They didn't enter, like you were saying, they entered pretty late. But Pruz.
Yeah, I found the ladder. I'm gonna send it to you.
Awesome.
Or the previous version of the ladder that had the statistics.
Yeah. All right, let's see if I can do this really quick. Woohoo! Yeah, this is the one that I was looking for. Okay, so if we say Pruz. Oh, they were in here for longer than I thought, I guess. A month and 2 weeks?
But check the history.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like,
yep. Oh, so there's where they implement wrapped. I think we found it.
Oh, so they just didn't implement wrapped for a while.
Like 1, 2, 3, 4 days till the tournament. If I'm like, that's impressive.
And if you look at the score, they shot up from like less than 200, so about 1,000.
Yeah.
And then.
Oh man! And then even this last day, they shot up another 2,000 points almost, and 2,000 points in like 18 places.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So they barely made it into elite.
Yeah, well, barely, except they're also in 10th, so not quite. But yeah, exactly.
Well, I think one day prior they would have been.
That's fair. Yeah.
In platinum.
Except the thing, well, and I guess we don't know, right? Because I guess they didn't. Well, that actually, so Pruz will be really interesting because I guess they didn't play any nightly games in elite.
Yeah.
So
it's a totally unknown opponent. We don't know how good they are, and we'll have to see when the tournament comes.
To look at Hobbs as a comparison, I've been doing this for a while, where I would be in elite and then not elite, and then keep going back and forth, and we just don't really know. That's interesting. This is not showing the last dot of the graph.
Oh.
Because I did not end at 26th here. I have one more day of shooting back up around to here.
So Prusa may have actually played one in elite and held their ground.
They might
pretty
have.
well.
Okay, so what this says that they had 6,700, and that's what they actually end. Okay, so that one's not that one. What does this point say they ended at? 6-1. Oh yeah, so they still gained 600 points in elite.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And a place. They gained 600 points in a place while being in elite. So yeah, I think they're going to be competitive in the tournament here.
Yeah. And if you look at Ziggy, I think their trajectory has been like, I've been in elite for a long time, but just slowly sinking actually.
Yeah,
If you look at the
the
score, it's just
score.
slowly
Oh,
ticking down
but
at the end.
like not by much. Like yes, but
Yeah,
like
just
70
barely.
points, or that one was like 10 points. Yeah, not a
I
lot.
think some of the other snakes, like Soma and maybe Prusa actually as well, but a couple snakes came up through the ranks and seemed to improve.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were starting to push Ziggy down a little bit at the
Yeah.
very end.
Yeah, because here's I think this is Soma, right? Yep. And Soma did the same thing where these last 4, 5-ish days just really was ramping up in points and ranking. Yeah. It's gonna be a tough ladder on Saturday.
Yeah, I feel like I need to actually like make some improvements or something in the next week.
I know. I was trying with my multi-threaded thing, but I don't know if I'm gonna get it finished in time.
Yeah.
What's up next for you? Do you have a plan on anything next to do? Maybe not even for summer, but next for
Uh,
Ziggy?
yes. So first off is like a proxy with a
Mm-hmm.
fallback to try to eliminate the timeout issue. And then next up is actually I want to do a paranoid min max,
Mm.
and I want to run that at the same time that I'm running Monte Carlo. And then basically, if the paranoid min max finds a elimination in one of the branches, it will basically eliminate that as an option for the Monte Carlo search.
Yep.
So I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll have the proxy server will forward the request to the min-max server and the Monte Carlo server.
Oh, okay.
It'll get both of them back, hopefully within the timeout.
Yep.
If it does, then it will say, did the min-max find an elimination? If so, then use the next highest score from the Monte Carlo with that elimination,
Yep.
not even on the table.
Nice.
Because I think what I'm seeing with the Monte Carlo search is that it's not paranoid enough in certain
Mm-hmm.
situations.
Yeah.
And so it thinks it's unlikely the other snakes will coordinate or something to trap you. But it turns out the other snakes are thinking, whatever they're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You can't always know.
You can't, it's dangerous to try to predict what the other snakes are going to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that'll help, especially in 4 players. 4 players, there's a lot of early eliminations that could be solved, I think, better by paranoid min-max than
Oh,
Monte
interesting.
Carlo.
I
And
wanna
so,
I wanna come back to this, but we got a chat from a new viewer, so
oh,
I
hey.
wanted to flip over there really quick. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, there are definitely programming games. This is really fun. So I'll do my little bit intro. You're reading the official page right now. Awesome. Um, So I don't have any amazing tips. I guess my biggest tip is you should probably find a link to the Discord and ask all kinds of questions in there. Me and Josh hang out in the Discord a lot. And there's so many people willing to ask questions and help out there. Um,
The other link that maybe you could point them to
yeah.
is there's a bunch of starter projects.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a programming language that you're already familiar with, any of the really common programming languages, there will be a starter project, and that allows you to get up and running pretty quickly.
Yeah. Let's see if I can make my computer work. There we go. Awesome. There's a link to the Discord if you want to come there. And then, yeah, I'll find the link. So I think you might have found it if you're on the official guide, but we will link to some starter projects with all kinds of different languages. Um, so what's your background? Oh man, this usernames are so hard for me. Uh, Gungniap. Oh man, that's not great.
You'll
What's
have
your
to help us
background?
pronounce that.
Yeah, if you can help us pronounce it. But what's your background? Are you new to development? Or are you a more seasoned developer finding out about Battlesnake? Just super curious. Um, I do love Battlesnake though. I think it's a really fun programming game, and yeah, one of the things I really love about it is that I get to do programming, but different programming for me. I'm a web developer by experience, so the web server side of things was what came a little easier to me in Battlesnake, but learning how to make things go really fast and doing all the game AI kind of things and deciding on turns has been super duper fun. And I get to try out a new language. I do all of my Battlesnake stuff in Rust for the most part, and I don't use that at all in any other coding, so I really enjoy it. Um, so yeah, happy to have you here. Thanks for checking out the stream, and hope you stick around both for the stream and for Battlesnake. Battlesnake's just wrapping up the Summer League right now. We were looking at some of the Platinum games. And the Elite tournament where me and Josh are competing is next Saturday. That'll be on their Battlesnake official Twitch if you want to come and see what that competition looks like. But now's kind of an awesome time to start because we're wrapping up Summer League and you got a few months kind of to prepare maybe for Fall League and kick off
Yeah.
another league in a few months. I don't know exactly when, but sometime in the fall they'll get another league kicked off. And it's a really fun time. The community's great. The Discord's awesome. So yeah. Your background is the data field and you know some Python, but not
Nice.
amazing in web dev. Just join the Discord. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I'll say hi to you over in the Discord once we finish up streaming here. But glad to have you. And yeah, doing some Battlesnake will definitely help you level up on the web dev at least a little bit. And super exciting to have you.
Yeah, I think the starter project, if you check out the Python starter project, they should have like a web server, I believe, set up for Flask. So hopefully you can, hopefully it won't hold you back in terms of like starting to play around with the snake logic, because the web server should kind of already be working, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, and if it's not, let us know in Discord. Someone would be very happy to fix it for you.
Yeah. I know there's actually been a lot of discussion about deploying to Heroku, because that's, I think, the default in the starter project. So there's been some people discussing getting that working. I think they got the bugs ironed out recently.
So. I think from the last Discords I was seeing, it sounded like people were making progress again there, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to what you were discussing, Josh, before we took our little sidetrack, and you were talking about the early game, min-max versus Monte Carlo, and
yeah,
I thought what you said was really interesting because you were saying that there were times in the early game where you thought min-max would be a lot better and could help you out with some of those wins, and you have a Monte Carlo snake and I have a min-max snake, and I was taking the exact opposite approach. Something I've been thinking about for the fall is finishing off my Monte Carlo snake and having the Monte Carlo for when there's 3 or 4 snakes, and flipping to min-max once you get down to 2.
So I guess my suspicion with min-max is that paranoid min-max is not a very good main algorithm.
Yeah.
Because what it will find often is that there is no safe moves in a certain situation, because maybe you're in a situation where if the other snake can go left or right, or down or right or whatever, and if you can go left and up, and either one could lead to your death, and it's a 50-50 chance, right?
Yeah.
And paranoid min-max is very bad at those situations. It will tend to just say neither move is okay.
Yep.
So all moves get a 0, and then you're left with no helpful, no guidance on which one to choose.
Yeah.
Whereas Monte Carlo will do some predictive stuff, and it will say, well, it's more likely the snake will go right because that won't lead to their death as well. And so your best chance of survival is going left. And so Monte Carlo will handle that situation pretty well.
Yep.
But other situations, I think paranoid min-max is actually going to help, because it's going to find the eliminations that Monte Carlo will sometimes say, like, oh, it's not very likely, so I don't care about it.
Yeah. No, I think I think the point you hit on about paranoid just will score both things as a 0 loss, even though it's like 50-50 for one of them or something potentially, is super true. And there's lots of cases where I'll see that with Hobbs. They'll choose like something that looks a little weird because they think all the other snakes are going to do exactly what they expect it to, like 20 turns out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always play out exactly that way. And so they make some potentially silly decisions early on like that.
And actually, I don't know if could you look at some of Ziggy's most recent losses in the Elite tournament? We probably can see an example game of what I'm talking about.
In the bracket here, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully the games are still on the server.
I think so. An early one?
If you find one of those -14 ones are the ones where I'm losing early, so you can check out one of those ones.
Yeah. Okay, so Ziggy's, this yellow snake down here. This is Josh's snake. We're going to watch it for a bit. They are going to get eliminated first here, though. So.
Yes. Spoiler.
Oh. Was that just
was that out of health?
That's what it says, but oh, look at that awful food spawn. As you leave. Oh wait, no, I thought there was a food that spawned. Oh, it does. A few turns after you get eliminated.
Okay, different game. This is a
Yep.
bad example of what we're talking about.
Yeah, I was gonna say this one's not super helpful. And yeah, you just don't get really lucky with the food spawns here. There's none around you for a while.
Well, but I could be a little more aggressive about seeking them out.
Yeah, well, yeah. This corridor is just super scary.
Yeah, I think that's a bad
I
move.
think that
Maybe
one
going
is.
towards the center here,
Yeah.
I think could be
Yeah.
if I were to write a test case, I would assert that
You
you
would
should
say
probably go
going
right
this
in this
way.
position. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right move.
Um,
But I don't feel like you see too many of those ones like we just saw where you like get starved out, or like any snakes get starved out just out of health. It's not overly common, I feel like.
It's not too common, no. It happens more if you have opponents who are very hungry
That's
and
fair. Yeah.
can gobble up all the food. But like here, Ziggy has no issues getting food.
No, yeah, Ziggy got relatively
So
large quickly.
this is either going to be like a timeout or it's going to be some kind of
Something potentially
early
interesting.
trap.
Oh,
Okay, here we go.
I think, yeah, saying this one. Oh no, this one you got squeezed. You had no good options.
But farther back, surely there was a good option, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. How far back would we have to
Like,
go? I think we have to go back
probably
two
farther
more.
than this, right? Maybe this one?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. How many moves forward would a paranoid search have to go?
Yeah. To know, well, okay, so where were we? This is 270. So all the
Yep.
way was 283. So that's 13 turns. But 13 turns with 4 snakes is kind of far.
Does your min max, or is yours the max in search?
No, so I'm doing paranoid as well. Paranoid with alpha beta pruning. And I don't know if I would have
Oh,
got to
hey,
13 moves
Stacy,
here.
Stacy.
Oh, hey,
Hello.
how's it going?
That's actually my wife.
Oh, nice. And yeah, Ziggy did not want to go for the head to head, went and dove for the wall instead. Oh wait, no, they did run into the body.
You've
You
been
didn't do a
lurking the
wall
whole time.
dive.
Awesome. I think the issue here is that their heads are one off from each other.
Yeah.
So the snake one can turn down, and that basically means it's a neck collision instead of a head to head.
Yep. And what I was thinking happened, which doesn't change the game at all, but Hobbs and a lot of the other snakes we were seeing in Platinum, when faced with this move here, will actually choose either of the walls instead of the snake collision.
Yeah.
Hobbs definitely does that. It doesn't matter much, but it does make it read funny stats on the side sometimes.
So I think actually, if you look at this, Ziggy is still doing a full Monte Carlo search even on this last position.
Yeah.
And what it's guessing that it can do is basically it's saying, if Snake were to go up, then they would both lose, which is a higher scoring position.
Yep.
And so it's basically saying that by going down,
oh yeah,
you have a small chance of increasing the position score at the end, basically by getting two
the
eliminations
double
instead
elimination.
of just you eliminated.
And
so
then,
it thinks that Ziggy thinks that going down is slightly better than to either side.
And this is a very like kind of silly example, but I think that actually is exactly what you were talking about of min-max, right? Because here, if Hobbs were to see this position, they'd say all 3 are immediate death no matter what. They all get the same score. And then I think it's just going to come down to what the order of my, like which order I looked at them in, which I don't do like purposefully. It's kind of just going to be random.
Oh, one other fun weird edge case is that if you go out of health, you are removed before the check for collisions.
Yep, that one's a fun one.
So in other words, if Snake, which I'm calling them Snake because I think that's what it's supposed to spell out with the special symbols. If they were to go up and Ziggy went left or right, Ziggy would be eliminated from the board before they would run into Ziggy.
Yep. So that's and the same thing in reverse, right? If Snake times out here or something and runs into the wall, down is safe for Ziggy.
It's true.
So the Monte Carlo is it, like, you know, it's not even just trying to get the tie. Like, it sees a very small chance, but a potential of survival.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really neat about the Monte Carlo search is that it does really well in these situations where there is no good move, but you have to choose anyway.
Yeah.
And hope for the best.
Yeah. And that's definitely something that min-max like explicitly doesn't do a great job at.
So that's where I'm only looking at maybe using min-max, paranoid min-max as a as a way to rule out one possibility when there are multiple ones.
Yep.
Not as a way to use it as the primary decision maker.
Yeah. So I actually tried something similar and rolled it back at some point during the summer league, where I was launching 2 paranoid mini maxes, my real scored one with my normal flood fill scoring algorithm, and one without a scoring algorithm at all, and just essentially said 0 every time for the score. And I called that my explorer thread or explorer min max.
Oh.
And my idea, which didn't play out, and I'm not positive if it didn't play out because the idea was flawed or my execution of it. I think more the execution of it. But my idea was if I can only get to 10 turns scored, maybe I can get to 12 or 13 turns unscored and be able to find traps. That's not going to help me figure out which move is better with the scores, but my theory was that it could help me find traps better. And I was finding that I could explore a bit more in the future than my scoring was, but I was doing them in threads on the same server, and I think I was just I didn't use a really big box. I just used a 2 CPU box at the moment. And I kind of think I was just exhausting the CPU. Like it seems like I should be able to run 2 min maxes on both the different CPUs, but I think I kind of forgot that the operating system and other things in the computer do still need a CPU some of the time.
Right.
So if I tried again, I'd probably try on a bigger box, or like what you were saying, and I hadn't thought of this. I really liked it. Just completely separate servers and using the proxy. Doing it a level up is super interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
I don't know how it'll work out, but I don't know if I'll have enough time in this week to actually do it.
Yeah. But that's
I gotta take another break. I drank way too much coffee.
Well,
so
we're going on about 3 hours here now. Do you want to just take 5 minutes or so, and then we can wrap up maybe?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be back in a few.
Yeah. Okay. Just needed to mess with my OBS settings to make sure that Josh's voice didn't happen to be on stream when he comes back until he's ready. But thanks for hanging out, everyone in chat. Hope it's been fun. I had a lot of fun with our custom game mode, and I think we got a pretty good thing worked out there. I'm excited to play around with it some more, and maybe we'll see it in Fall League. We'll see. I'm gonna look at another game here while I'm hanging out. Let's just keep going. Oh yeah, let's look at this other one where Boundless Scuttle Coil. Another one of our DigitalOcean teammates with me and Josh. They didn't make it out of this bracket, unfortunately. They had some tough competition and not their best day. But let's check them out for a minute. So the one I'm talking about is this Boundless Scuttle Coil, that green one that got an early elimination here. So let's just take a look. They really wanted this center food. Oh, and then got head-to-headed with Battlesnake Galactica. And that one's a hard one because they can't go up here. They're blocked in by Dubious. And down isn't safe either because of Battlesnake Galactica. So just a tough one there. Let's watch the end of the game play out. I like the pastel colors of these three. Go together very well. Avoiding death. Took a death there. Oh, Battlesnake with a head-to-head to win. Oh, not quite head-to-head, but almost. You're back and not muted on stream. Welcome back.
Yay.
I was just pulling up some different games while you were gone.
GMG.
Yeah.
This is my second chance of pronouncing your name. Yeah, we can show you where. So there's a bunch of places on the website where you can get the replay links. The one you just shared is the one for the Summer League.
Yep, so that's the Summer League I specifically linked to the Platinum bracket, so this is
Oh, nice.
the Platinum bracket. So this is the what happened yesterday, Saturday. And then if you want to watch the game replays, you click the little game icon, the controller icon, and then you can pick which match you want to watch.
You could also look at the ladder drop down on
Yep.
the website, or there's Summer League, and that some of those will have game links that you can click on.
Yep. I think you can't actually watch them quite as well from this new leaderboard, right? Yeah.
If you select the snake, it will take you, and if you scroll down here, there's recent games. So you can actually look at the recent games here.
And you'll get something. They might not be the league you came from, but if you're just looking for games in general, that will definitely work.
Yep. The other thing you can do is in Battlegrounds, there's also a bunch of Battleground. These are kind of, they change out every, you just found searching into the first competition tab. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. But Battlegrounds is another set of games that runs every month. So like this match or this set of games is running from July to August. And so there's different game modes. So if you want to see what other kind of game modes there are, these switch every month.
Yeah. I've been enjoying Lava Bridges here at the end. In our break between Summer League and the tournament, I put Hobbs in Lava Bridges, and have been enjoying that one. That one's fun.
Oh, Hobbs is actually doing really well.
Doing really good in this one. Yeah. Here, let's take. I'll do a win just to feel good about myself. Yeah. Oh wow! Look at the orange. Very themed.
Oh yeah, all orange. Yeah. Also, Combat Reptile, tough opponent.
Yeah. Right. And Pruse. Not an easy one either.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, and I think that my scoring algorithm is just really pretty, like not on purpose, but is pretty optimized for this, where like you each have your own little square to control. And worked out well for me there. The hazard damage.
And I think
you go.
One thing I notice here is that it favors snakes who actually stay small. If you get really long, like Combat Reptile here, you will always get into a corner where you can't get out of.
Oh, fair.
It's like the moment your length is longer than you can fit coiled up in one square, and even this point, it's not even quite that long.
Exactly.
You definitely run into more traps that you can't escape from.
Yeah. The one thing that I also thought was very interesting about Lava Bridges, and I don't know if we see it here, is that the walls are... Oh, there we do a little bit. The walls are mostly walls, but they're like... You lose like 90 damage, but not all of it. So you can dash through at some points. And I just thought that was really interesting.
Through if you can if you already have above 90 health and you can find a food within a couple squares on the other side.
Yep. But I've enjoyed this mode a lot. This one's fun. I tried to put Hobbs in the Chaos one that Ziggy's in, and the 8 players just really doesn't do good for my min-max.
Ziggy actually does awesome in this mode up until the end game.
Oh, interesting.
So because they don't use Monte Carlo in this to actually simulate the hazard expansion, that usually gets them at the end.
Gotcha.
But they do really well in surviving the early game.
Yeah. And like it's just so much going on right now. This one, a lot of snakes stayed for a while too. Oh, one-on-one with Shapeshifter.
Yep, and that's a pretty common end game. I almost always lose.
Oh, you got this one. We picked a good game.
But yeah, what's interesting is if you look at the early game, Ziggy basically avoids all other snakes.
Yeah, it does pretty good at staying just on their own there.
So yeah, they're just trying to find an open area of the board. Because what the Monte Carlo search is not going very deep at this point. Maybe it's going like 10 moves in the future, if that. But what it tends to find is that going in the area of other snakes leads to more potential deaths.
Yeah.
And so if it can find an open area to go to, it will.
Yeah, and it worked out really well. Well, definitely in this game, but overall, Ziggy's doing really well in this mode. What's the top of the leaderboard? Oh, Soma, Pruse, Jaguar, Shapeshifter, all snakes that we recognize.
Yep. All very good competition here.
Yeah.
But look at the gap between Shapeshifter and
Oh, wow.
Jaguar. There's a huge drop off. Like
Yeah.
Shapeshifter is the snake to beat in this mode.
Oh, how's duels going? Combat Reptile always has a big lead in duels. Not quite as much as sometimes, but still, they've got a good one over Shapeshifter here.
Still a big lead, yeah.
Yeah. Um, well, I think I'm getting pretty ready to wrap up, but do you want to do at least one more of our slime, what do we call it, snail
Yeah.
modes before we wrap up?
I was wondering if we could try. Okay, I'm ready.
You ready for the screen?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Guest screen. Okay, all you.
So, one thing to notice here is that the list of hazards is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is all one hazard.
Okay. Wow.
Also,
Wait.
wait a second. 1-7 is repeated so many times,
That's got to be a bug.
right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think we have a bug because 14-4 is also repeated way too many times.
yeah. Interesting.
I'm wondering in the meantime if we could do something where we just cap the total number.
Yeah, I think that would be a good iteration for eventually. Not
Or
sure.
I mean,
We can try it
I don't
now.
know what
I'm not sure if I know exactly what I want to do for that off the top of my head.
if editor. Actually, we don't cap the number here.
Yep.
But that wasn't what we were seeing. We were seeing a couple of squares that were glitching out and getting way too many.
Yeah. But that is where we
Which
add a lot. Yeah, it could be something.
so I guess we could say the current count. What is the current count?
I don't know if we have the current. Oh, I guess we kind of have. We can kind of get the current count, right?
It's going to be the.
So you want to go to the last board, I think. Oh, we have hazard counts. Can we just use our hazard
Yeah, we have
counts
hazard
thing?
counts. Yeah,
Okay.
hazard counts.
Yep.
Hazard counts. Does it get?
No, I think this is. Oh, well, maybe it is. Yeah. Is it get or do you just array index into it?
Oh,
We arrayed indexed into it earlier with the plus plus, but I'm not sure if that's the best way.
and we need to hash the point with the height.
Yep, last board state height. Yep.
I think also this returns two values typically. I think it returns like OK and the value or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go ahead and check. In map. I actually Googled this recently.
I like that.
Here it is. So you can say, yeah, if value OK is going to be a Boolean, which is true if the
Oh, so it's the
if
second
the map
one. Got it.
contains the item or not.
Yep. Oh, and that makes
so
sense because of the other thing we were talking about earlier about how it's going to default to 0. So if you just got it and it didn't exist, you'd get 0 if you didn't check for the OK.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you could say if not OK, then current count equals 0. Right?
Yep.
And then we want to say, well, it's less than 7 minus current count.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. And then just chat and Golang for a sec. I think the OK current count equals 0 check is gonna be duplicative because in Go everything defaults to whatever its like initial value is, and I think for ints it's
right.
0. So I think we just don't need it.
We can use the initial value of 0 to
So
simplify that.
Let's run that. Oh, actually, oh nope, I am ready. Cool.
So I actually in the test I commented out Hobbs for now, but I can add Hobbs back in.
Either way, Hobbs was one's throwing errors on us, so I'm down to keep it with Ziggy for just a minute.
I'm gonna do actually 11-11, but then with only 4 snakes might be.
Yep, might be better.
Okay.
Oh, even one of Ziggy got no customizations this time.
This is weird.
What was weird? Sorry.
It's weird that Ziggy got
The
that
no customization. Yeah, right?
because I feel like the only thing I changed was the name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like that's the full name of the snake.
That is true, yeah. All work
And
this
that
time.
did not have the error.
And I think it looks like we might have fixed the bug potentially. I'm not positive if I'm seeing like a lot of repeats anymore in the logs. I'm seeing some, but not nearly as many as it felt like we saw before. But some
I mean, we
repeats
should
is
expect
normal
to see up to, yeah.
because like we are stacking them.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that might have been that fix then.
We could also do something where like we panic if there's more than 7 in a stack, just in
At
as a
least for
debug
debug
kind of
stuff.
thing.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but I think we could do that. Or we iterate over the hazard counts or something.
Yep. Yeah, let's just...
Actually, we're doing that down here.
Oh, fair. Yeah.
We could say if count is greater than 7,
then I actually don't know how to
panic.
just... Oh, is that a thing? I love it. Yep. Too many hazards.
More, yeah.
Either way, yours was more descriptive. Yeah, let's try this out.
Ideally it would actually print something nicer than just...
Yeah.
Oh, but that time it aired again.
Yeah, right?
So it's not the name, it's just kind of a random thing that's happening.
Yeah.
It could be that servers are timing out and that's what happens when it times out.
Yeah, that seems potentially right. Because it's
But we're
definitely
not getting
intermittent like
panicked.
that.
We're not getting panicked, so I
Yeah.
think that means that we are not having those infinite stacks
Yeah, I think
forming.
so. And this is looking really good. I like this.
I know, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I think we could make it to where hazards scale with the snake length.
Oh yeah,
if you
that would be
wanted to try
fun.
that, or we could leave that for another day.
I was gonna say maybe we'll save that for another day. I think I need to head out here relatively soon. But yeah, this was great. I do think that would be a fun one for next stream or sometime to try to do the lengths as well there. But yeah, I think we might want to wrap up here today.
Cool.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming again, Josh. I hope we keep making this a regular thing like we talked about. It's been a lot of fun. And
yeah, I enjoy like pairing up on the stream.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just typing more things. Okay, I'm done.
And this slime mode was really fun. I like this idea. This one came out really cool.
Yeah.
And looks really fun to play along with.
Definitely.
Oh man, I'm not even gonna try this time. I'm sorry. Twitch chatter. You might want to look at some of the... So in Spring League, so one of the streams from the official Battlesnake team is called Coding Badly. And in spring, they actually started doing a blockly snake. And I've missed the last few episodes, but I think they got something working pretty well with blockly, where it would, send the game stuff to your blockly interface and use that to calculate the move and send it back. So it definitely has been tried a little bit. I don't think it got a ton of polish. Polish isn't really the Coding Badly style. But I do believe they got something working there, which was really cool. So if you're interested, go check out some of the Twitch video on demand VOD things for I think it was the Spring League Coding Badly.
And if the I was gonna say if it's no longer on Twitch, because I'm not sure how long they keep the old VODs on there, they also post it on YouTube. So if you check out the Battlesnake official YouTube channel, they will have those old episodes, and you could find the one where they're doing Blockly.
Yeah. But it is an awesome idea, and if you wanted to continue doing that, I think the community would be pretty excited about it. It's really fun.
Yeah, and also Joe, I believe, has just released a tool where you can make a snake in JavaScript in a browser tab and then deploy it and run it without having to set up any servers or anything like that.
Nice.
So that might be another kind of fun one to introduce Battlesnake to someone,
Yeah.
because then you're able to get in there and play around with like a web text editor. You don't have to install a text editor locally, and you don't have to worry about deploying. So that might be a fun thing to kind of explore. That is also very early stage, so I don't think it's polished yet.
Yeah.
But
awesome ideas. I like that. I don't even remember if I knew that one existed. That one's fun. Well, should we officially wrap up here, Josh?
yeah,
Let's do it.
we can be done.
Let's do one more. Let's see this last game. I like that. So I guess I'll explain what we did a little bit for this. We created this new game map that the Battlesnake team created an interface where you can make your own maps. And in this one, we decided we called it snail mode. So after your tail leaves a position, you kind of leave a trail of this hazard sauce, and it takes more damage if you were to go through it. So actually that worked really well. The decustomized snake, you kind of could see avoid the little trails and found a path through them a second ago. So yeah, this is what we did. We did some custom coding for this, and then we looked at some other games. But this was a lot of
Who
fun.
knows, this might be an official game map in a few weeks that we can actually.
It might be. We'll see.
Other people can try out as well,
Yeah.
if we iron out all the bugs. And
I definitely think we can get it live so people can play with it, and then maybe it'll be a fall league map if everything works out.
yeah. I also really like both of the battlegrounds,
Yeah.
Wrapped Chaos and especially what was that one we were just
Lava
looking
bridges.
at? Lava Bridges, I think, is a really interesting game mode too.
Yeah.
I would not be sad if those were the pick for the fall league.
No, me neither. If it's Wrapped Chaos, it'll force me to make some different changes, but that's great. It's always a fun reason to add some different code in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, thank you so much, Josh, for coming on and chatting with me again. Had so much fun as always.
Thank you.
So yeah, we will see you next time. Hopefully we have you on again in a week or two, Josh, and
Sure.
hopefully everyone enjoyed it, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Okay. Oh, you guys can still hear me on stream, but you won't anymore. Bye.